bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Wednesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So if that is a show for you, definitely stick around because we got a lot of tea to spill today, including we got a release date for Ghost Rider. Noah Centineo just recently did an interview with the Happy Sad Confused podcast, and he's opening up about why his He-Man movie fell through. Because remember, he was supposed to play He-Man before Nicholas Galitzine. So we have that clip. Plus, we got to talk about Linda Cardellini was talking about what we can expect from the new Friday the 13th movie. Paramount got some brass balls because apparently they're requesting the states and the WGA to post a $1.9 billion bond to cover financial losses while they're trying to do this whole merger. Mind you, they've got themselves in this mess, but they want everybody else to foot the bill. That's how you know that some of these people got the unmitigated gall to be asking this mess. We'll get into that. Plus, we have some more tea regarding Hayden Panettiere. Now, the question remains, should the man, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, who she revealed in her book was physically abusive toward her, be investigated for her death? I've heard that the police are starting to look into some things, that he was no longer cooperating with the police, and they had the cops actually made a house call to her boyfriend's grandmother's house out in South Carolina. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about Tanta and Taylor Swift cleaning it up pretty big over at the MTV VMAs. You can now vote. They've got a lot of nominations and in their categories. We're right now in the nominations. Speaking of nominations, we got to talk about the Grammys because the word on the street is the Recording Academy is reconsidering the new Asian pop category after the whole drama with BTS pretty much pulling from themselves out of the Grammy voting, and we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about this lawsuit between CNC Music Factory, as in Robert Clivillés, and Freedom Williams. There's like a whole situation going around, and I knew I was right because I heard them say $30 million. Now the actor saying it is $30 million because that's what the guy who served Freedom the papers ended up saying, but you couldn't really understand what he was saying. I had to rewind it like 5 times to hear if he said it correctly. But yeah, it's $30 million lawsuit. Speaking of lawsuit, we got a lot of lawsuits to get in. One regarding Lady Gaga and this surfboard company who also goes by Mayhem, and they have like the similar font or whatever. We'll get into that lawsuit. Ellie Goulding is suing her ex-management company over Live Nation ties they didn't tell her about. FKA Twigs ended up winning a trademark lawsuit, and now ABC has filed a First Amendment lawsuit against the FCC. And we got to get into Kim Zolciak and her man. Apparently, Kroy is pulling. Oh my God, what was that? Them people that used to be over there on Good Morning America when they was hunching, and then Andrew Shue wound up getting with the guy's ex-wife. Well, apparently, Kroy is pulling the same mess. Now, he's out here hunching Kim Zolciak's new man's ex-wife. I know these y'all white people, y'all are weird, but we'll get into that mess and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, please do a solid, hit that like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, do all the things that help the channel go get big all up in the algorithm and all that good stuff. Please and thank you. But yeah, I know I need to address the elephant in the room because apparently people up in here thinking I was just deliberately late. I was not. So apparently what happened was um I was gonna go to the Costco before I started the show, but apparently when I was getting out there, because I was like, I'll make it back in time. By the time I got out there was a huge traffic jam. Apparently there was a big accident. They done shut down the whole area, had to turn right back around. It was traffic galore. Everywhere I was trying to go to maneuver and all this other stuff, the traffic just kept getting worse. So I'm looking, I'm like, fuck, the time is going, the time is going, the time is going. It was 6 o'clock. I'm like, damn, I ain't gonna make the show on time. So that's the reason why I'm late, because somebody decided to get themselves in, well, I don't want to say that because that's me. There was an accident. I was gonna say somebody went and got themselves in a predicament. But it was like, yeah, the police done shut down the whole area. So no, I was not being a diva and all that stuff. So Sailor Mermaid, happy Wednesday. The DEA and the FBI is now involved, as they should be. And I don't understand why she wound up getting it back with that idiot, but whatever. The Swifties are pissed that Madonna is dominated, saying, since when was Madonna relevant? Chill. Taylor Swift fans is retarded. So we gonna sit up here and try to act like Madonna's not relevant, especially when it comes to music videos. A lawsuit based on K-pop Demon Hunters by a fake man in the Clouds band start stating that the Netflix show overshadowed. I heard I heard something about that. Fact of the matter was I didn't really watch K-pop Demon Hunters, so I didn't even. And I know Sailor Mermaid has tried many a times to get me to watch it. I just didn't care. So all right, y'all. So without further ado, let's get the show started. Let me hit the banner and all that good stuff. And let's get into our first topic. I ain't going to, edge y'all any longer. Wait, hold on a second, because I got to make sure all my videos is working and stuff. Okay. So I got everything. Because I had the computer closed for a while and I had all my stuff ready. So anyway, let's get into our first topic. And let's talk about Ghost Rider. So, of course, you already know, a couple of weeks ago at Comic-Con, it was announced that Ryan Gosling is going to be our new Ghost Rider. Yes, we've had Ghost Rider in 2 movies, which weren't that good, but I watch them. I throw them on in the background to watch if I need something. But those movies were not good. Nicolas Cage played Ghost Rider. Now we got Ryan Gosling, which definitely it looks appropriate for him to be playing that role because it kind of gives that whole vibe. So we finally got a release date. We got quite a few release dates. So according to Variety, Disney has dated Ryan Gosling's Ghost Rider movie for July 28th. Oh, I love that number. July 28th, 2028. So it's like 7/28/28, making it the third Marvel movie set for 2028. So we're going to have Black Panther 3 coming out in December 15th, 2028. And the X-Men movie, which we got some of the cast, that's coming out in May of 2028. So we got May, and then after May, then 2 months later, we get Ghost Rider. And then, what is that? Like maybe 4 or 5 months later, we get Black Panther 3, which got us, I guess, at this point, I mean, because I remember before I was sitting there thinking, like, so, and that's the case because we got ourselves a new Storm, which people are already irritated because Jamie, I forgot her last name, is not gonna be is not gonna be playing Storm. So they got this Broadway chick, which I was watching. What was that? I think I was watching Spiel the Tequila. Shout out to John Roca and Winston. And he was talking about something that I totally forgot about. So when it comes, because why are you picking tonight from the theater? And I'm sitting there like, well, one of the things about theater actors is that when if you're going to be talking about Storm has a commanding appearance. So she's very commanding when she walks into a room. It's like how Nene Leakes would say, whenever I walk into a room, I own it. And Storm has to be able to walk into any little area and be like this grandiose, powerful figure that she is. And when it comes to people who are on Broadway, you literally you can't just play small. You can't just be on the stage singing your little songs or whatever. You have to literally, your voice has to project to the back of the room because even the people in the nosebleeds got to be able to feel you when you're on that stage giving that performance. So you need that character. And apparently this actress who they hired embodies that. But I was sitting there thinking, since Black Panther comes out after X-Men, I wonder if that means that, yeah, we'll get Storm introduced in X-Men, obviously, but will she also play a role in the upcoming Black Panther movie? We don't know. That's to be determined, but that was just something that I was thinking about. So it also went on to say the titles were part of a large number of release updates made by the company in the wake of fan event D23, which took place this past weekend. Gosling's role was announced in July at Comic-Con. An untitled Marvel movie is scheduled for November 9th, 2029. It was previously referred to only as an untitled Disney movie. The Ghost Rider movie is going to be directed by Sean Levy and written by Star Wars Starfighter screenwriter Jonathan Tropper. So apparently they had like a really good time with the Starfighter movie, which I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. I mean, I haven't seen anything regarding the film. There's no trailer or anything, but I'm curious to see what that movie's going to bring. But it said Gosling takes over the role, as we said, from Nicolas Cage, who played the motorcycle rider for in 2 movies for Sony. So, but speaking of ghosts, Pixar's Ghost Market will be released on March 10th, 2028. The animated film is inspired by Asian myths of stores where the living and dead. I mean, it was that myths of stores. I'm like, am I is that a miswrite or whatever? Because I don't know, my brain is not computing that. They said where the living and the dead interact and was originally set to be a streaming series before it was set as a theatrical release. Now we also have Coco 2 coming out on November 21st, 2029. Now at D23, fans got a first look at the film's central character, Miguel, who is now a teenager. Benjamin Bratt reprises the role as Ernesto de la Cruz. A live action remake of Tangled is coming out on March 31st, 2028, and the animated movie Clay is set for November 22nd, 2028. Other new dates include Searchlight horror film Monitor, which is previously set for April 30th, 2027, and moves up to April 16th. Matt Black and Ryan Polly directed the story of a demonic entity that stalks message board moderators. Jesus, I would not want that job. But overall, this sounds like something pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing these films. The 2028 is going to be action packed when it comes to the superhero stuff. But I just hope that it's all good and everything. Now, wait a minute. When is Secret Wars supposed to be coming out? Because yeah, isn't that supposed to be coming out next year? I haven't heard any movement on that. Like we know about Doomsday. Secret Wars, I assume, was supposed to be coming out in 2027. They haven't started shooting. So what's going on with that movie? Um, but yeah, so that's all I got on this for now. But overall, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding we finally have a release date for Ghost Rider? It's coming out July 28th, 2028. I'm looking forward to it because I'm sure that the MCU can make a really good, well, I hope they can because they need to get on the right track. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh my God, I just realized I got so many windows open. Oh yeah, no, I had another headache when I was trying to come live. They were like, "Oh, it's too much traffic. Like, there's a lot of people who I guess are streaming at the same time, so they had to create more what you call it for me to get on. So I had to like keep clicking every minute to get. I'm like, what the hell is going on today? Like, the omens are working overtime. They said Olivia Rodrigo fans are even pissed that Madonna took her place. They said, I ain't giving up. You're gonna love it. At least I hope you will when you get the chance to. Oh, because I was talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. Like I said, there is going to be a massive K-pop Demon Hunters World Tour in 2027, so I'm sure he will work a show. Well, is it coming to the Garden? I would not be surprised because I actually met some of the singers of the show. First of all, I forget who was the Asian one. I saw him up close. I was like, "Oh, you cute." um, the guy. But yeah, I remember I forget what event. Oh, I know what it was. It was Jingle Ball. That's what it was. They had the K-pop Demon Hunters there, and where I was stationed, they brought them in. Speaking of which, I want to give a shout out to Olivia Dean. I already gave her love and her flowers earlier, and I feel for y'all who weren't able to get to see the show. Yesterday concluded the fourth of her shows, her residency. Oh, also shout out to Ebro. Ebro from Ebro to Lauren Rosenberg or Ebro in the morning. Remember when it was on Hot 97? Also, I didn't realize how tall he was. He's like maybe an inch or two taller than me. But um I saw him and his family. They came the first night on Friday. I meant to bring that up, but I kept forgetting. I'm sure he probably already mentioned it on his show. But yeah, he got cursed out yesterday because he said that his Apple office is right by the garden. So he saw this long line. And I didn't even know about the line until coworkers of mine was telling me. They were like, have you seen that line that's been going all the way down to 10th Avenue? I'm like, what is the line? And they said it's for Olivia Dean tickets. Like people literally was camped out trying to get tickets to see the show because they had heard so much about it. And they were hoping that people would cancel. But we was even selling obstructive view sides where you was just gonna get the curtain. You can hear everything. You can see something. I mean, when she go to the beat stage, which actually I was stationed by, the final nights I was this close to her. So, you know, the people trying to get tickets, I understand they couldn't get them, but I guess maybe next time when she decides to tour, she'll probably end up doing Lady Gaga type numbers, like 9 shows at the Garden. I mean, these days that's what it seems like a lot of artists are doing. A lot of artists are doing residencies. We got the Jonas Brothers kicking off their show tomorrow. They're doing 3 nights. And then next week, Harry Styles kicks off his 30-day residency. I know some people saying the straight through, it's broken up. I think he's doing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I think those are the actual dates of the residency. So it's not every day. Because who will be able to do that? You will blow out your voice. He said, hint why Patty LaPew didn't get to be a Vita. Yeah. I mean, point. I feel like Patty LaPone was kind of old. I mean, wait, isn't she and Madonna around the same age? Or she might be a couple of years older, but Patti LuPone always kind of skewered like old lady, even when she was young. Cleveland's in the building, and Madonna had the same vocal coach as Patti LaPew. I wonder if she and Joan had a falling out over that vocal training for the millennial version. Look, everybody works with who they got to work with. They said Gen Z men are now watching Entourage, and it's depressing. That kind of nostalgia is very sad. I used to like Entourage. Is it bad that I'm not feeling it with Ryan playing Ghost Rider? He's just meh to me, which is why I avoid any. Well, I don't think you're going to avoid this one. Maybe it depends on if you see the movie. Once you see like a trailer, whatever, then you'll probably have a different story. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm looking forward to him playing Ghost Rider, and I will agree. There are some movies that Ryan Gosling does, and like, I don't know. Although I do love Drive. I love that movie, and I love the soundtrack. Well, you know Kavinsky, who did the music. I think he did the music for the album, or maybe one song that was a huge hit. You know, y'all probably don't know. He passed away. What was it? A couple of weeks ago. But anyway, but yeah, shout out to all those who got to go to the Libertine concert. It was good. It was a lot of fun, and it's a good show and all that good stuff. But yeah, he said that to some people. He's like, "Oh, why y'all? What's the line for?" And he was, and they were like, "They trying to get everything." He said, "Good luck, because it's a good show." And then this lady was like, "Thank God." I'm like, God. I was like, damn, why was she getting mad? Probably because it came across like the way he said that, like he was gloating because it was like, "Oh, I got to see the show already. Yeah, it's great." Even though you just trying to be nice and be like, "Nah, the show was good," and have a good time, whatever the case was. But look, every seat was filled up in that place. It was crazy. Oh, you 9 years old, a child? And she looked every bit of it. Anyway, let's get back into the show. And let's talk about Noah Centineo. So Noah Centineo just recently did an interview with the Happy Sad Confused podcast. And he was talking about a lot of things because he's about to play Rambo in, well, the role originated by Sylvester Stallone in a Rambo prequel. He's playing Ryu in Street Fighter that's supposed to be coming out later this year. He's been in a lot of films. I totally forgot that he replaced old boy on the Forsters. That he was on the Forsters. He was like the replacement kid. Damn, what's his name? Jake T. Austin. When Jake, because I don't know what the hell's going on with Jake T. Austin, but he can't seem to keep a goddamn job. He couldn't keep a job over there as Wizards of Waverly plays. He couldn't keep a job on the Forsters. So they want to replace him with Noah Centineo. And now Noah's grown up to kind of be like this. I don't know if we can consider him a Hollywood it boy. He literally looks, and like, I don't know if it's just me, but he literally looks like he could be the son of Mark Ruffalo. Like when I look at him, he looks like a young Mark Ruffalo. It's cute. Good actor. And so yeah, so he did his interview, and what people probably don't know, or maybe you forgot, but he was originally cast to play He-Man in Masters of the Universe that Sony was supposed to be doing. For some reason, it fell through, and yeah, it didn't end up working out or whatever the case was. So he finally went over to the Happy Sad Confused podcast, and he opened up on what had happened with the whole situation. So let's get to that clip courtesy of the YouTube. Hold on a second. Because it's like I hate when I have to go through all this mess to bring up videos. Okay, we're gonna get to this clip. We're gonna come back. We gonna talk. Please hold.
Tom Holland call him dad.
Why do you say we have 10 years on this fucking beach? You know, it's like shut up.
We're not that podcast. We love Chris Nolan around here.
We
for
do.
the record.
Well, clearly I have an issue with him. I jumped in the pool for Interstellar.
Self-sabotage 101 by Noah Centineo.
Dude, I am so good at that. I'm probably not gonna work after like 2 years of this.
It's so went back too far.
Okay. We're producing. We're gonna do our own projects anyway.
Are you? Was that the one undone on the superhero front? You must have gone up for other superhero things.
Yeah, I for a moment there was I guess we can talk about this. Was gonna do He-Man.
Of course.
There was He-Man before Black Adam.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
How do you? So you were attached to that for a while. Like that was like at least a year or two. I feel like you were going to be the guy. Different directors.
Wait, what happened?
I'm probably not going to work after like 2 years of this. It's so funny. It's okay. We're producing. We're going to do our own projects anyway.
Are you? Was that the one undone on the superhero front? You must have gone up for other superhero things.
Yeah, I for a moment there was I guess we can talk about this. Was going to do He-Man.
Of course.
There was He-Man before Black Adam.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
How do you? So you were attached to that for a while. Like that was like at least a year or two. I feel like you were going to be the guy. Different directors.
We were pretty close, dude. I went through the test process. We screen tested loincloth and stuff, all of it.
Somewhere that footage is out there.
I'm sure it is somewhere. I don't know where it is. Sony has it. Maybe they probably burned it. If I were them, it was somehow. Anyway, I signed the contract.
But is that a strange thing? Like you go through all that, you imagine a life like I'm going to do 3 He-Man movies.
Yeah, they're like showing us, previs. They're showing us kind of the production design, the world building. At the time, it was the Nee brothers that were going to do it. Shout out Nee brothers. And we got pretty close. And then for some reason or another, it pushed and put, and then I think they just wanted to keep tweaking it, and the contract ran out. And we moved on, and then I think Netflix acquired it for a little bit, and then Amazon acquired it, and they found Nick. And God, dude, Nick. I mean, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to step into a role like that, dude. I mean, that's not an easy movie to make at all. And like, I watched it. Like,
you did?
Yeah. And Nick is incredible.
He leaned in. He was good.
How else do you do it?
Yeah, you can't.
People don't understand how hard it is to do camp wholeheartedly. And it's like, if the movie works, the movie doesn't work. Oftentimes, especially in that situation, I don't blame him for that.
100%.
I loved what he was doing, what he was trying to do.
Nice.
So
you got some really.
All right. So there you have it. So, unfortunately, it didn't work out. It would have been cool to see Noah in the part, but it didn't pan out that way. I actually did like He-Man. I had little trepidations with it. I thought like maybe at some points the tone was a bit all over the place with the film. But when they lean into the camp, I definitely enjoy when they lean into the camp stuff. Some things didn't work, some things did work. I did like the action, even though everybody's hating on Jared Leto right now. I thought he was a phenomenal Skeletor. Nicholas Galitzine, I think, did a pretty good job as He-Man. Physically, he embodied He-Man. I know a lot of people wanted him to be a little bigger, and it's like, first of all, it's a movie. Number two, it's not animated or he's not an action figure. He's a human being. So the fact that he jacked up for the role and physically he looked the part, that should be enough. We don't need him to be like 300 pounds of muscle where he just like, and he can't move. Like, you got to be able to do physical stuff. And when they lean into like the action sequences, the fight choreography and everything, and the sword play, I pretty much enjoyed that film. But on this situation, I would have definitely loved to have seen what Nicholas Galatzine's version of, not Nicholas Galitzine, Noah Centineo's version of Masters of the Universe would have been. I know, like, we've heard many a times, like Christian Harloff has said in the past, because I believe he has mentioned that he's worked on the script years ago, long before it was like rummaging through all the stuff that it is now. I think maybe like 10 years ago he was working on it, and they were trying to do something like Game of Thrones meets Lord of the Rings, like kind of have that vibe. I think tonally it would have been cool to have that vibe, but you could have threw like a little of the 80s cheesiness, the camp and stuff in there just to be like a wink to the fans. But grounding it in that whole fantastical world, like a Game of Thrones and stuff at the height of when it was. I mean, I guess Game of Thrones is still at its height because everybody's loving House of the Dragon. But it would have been nice to see what that tone was. He didn't really specify what their version of the film was going to be. But I'm like, well, since it didn't get off the ground, then I guess we'll never know. But he also said that they kept tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. And so the point was when the rights ran out and then Netflix came in, and because I do remember with the part when Netflix was going to scoop it up and make the movie, and I guess they were probably asking for too much money. So then they said no. And then Amazon Prime came in and footed the bill. So it's unfortunate it didn't work out, but we got the movie that we got. The only problem with this whole thing that I noticed is that because this film is like for Gen X and Zennials and Millennials and elder Millennials and stuff. I don't know if it's the Millennials per se, but I could say like Gen X and Zennials and elderly older Millennials. I don't know. I just think like maybe they waited too long to get Masters of the Universe off the ground and get people interested in wanting to see the movie. I just think that they all waited 10 years or maybe 20 years too late. That the movie should have been done in like the 2000s or the 2010s. I think that would have been the sweet spot because the last time we got a movie was what, 1987. So yeah, when you're talking about the generation now, the generation that likes Masters of the Universe, they're not really going to the movies. A lot of them have kids and families and stuff. And how do you bring the family to want to be interested in wanting to see a movie like that? Especially if you grew up playing with He-Man and Skeletor and all those characters. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Noah Centineo saying why he feels the He-Man movie fell through? I guess it's just like it's usual Hollywood stuff. They kept messing around with it. They weren't satisfied with the script and everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, they lost the rights. And when you lose the rights and another person buys up the rights, then they're not going to go with the director and the people and their idea and their actor. Now they want to bring their people in and try something different and new. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Between Ghost Rider and Margot Robbie rumored to be in the lead for Pirates franchise with Johnny Depp, Barbie is dead because Warner won't pay the money. Well, yeah, there was a whole drama that was going on with that. I thought about doing that for the show, but things kept coming up and I kept forgetting about it. But yeah, it's a lot going around. It's like between Greta Gerwig and her idea, they don't know what the idea is. Then it's like, yeah, you got to bring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling back. You already know they're pretty big right now, so um you got to pay them a certain amount of money. And I don't know. I just think like you should just leave Barbie a one and done because you don't want to end up in a similar situation like y'all did with um Joker. Joker was supposed to be a one and done, but because it made so much money at the box office, I think it was $1 billion film, then Warner Brothers was like, oh, let's make a sequel. And the person that created the first film wasn't really all for making a sequel. So I just think he just threw something together just to take the money and deliver one of the worst movies of that year. Because Warner Brothers was persistent on wanting a sequel. Everything don't need a sequel. Just leave it alone. Noah is doing what Taylor Lautner should have reinvented him action. I agree that at that time, 2010s action was seen as boomer genre. I mean, slowly but sure is correct because here's that thing: Mutiny with Jason Statham, which I'm actually going to go see this week, is actually getting pretty good reviews. They're saying like it's like Die Hard on a boat. Because remember back in the day we had Die Hard, everything was Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a plane. Die Hard on a plane was Passenger 57. Die Hard on a boat kind of was Speed 2 Cruise Control, but that movie was terrible. But now they're saying it's like a real Die Hard on a boat type situation. And Jason Statham is somebody who understands action. He loves doing action and he delivers always in the action front. And his movies aren't like Dwayne Johnson or Vin Diesel. Like he's not trying to do $200 million big blockbuster type movies. He does movies where it's like the budget could be $40 to $50 million, 60 million tops, and he'll get up in there and give you fierce choreography, a lot of crazy action sequences and deaths and all that other stuff. And so I've been hearing nothing but good reviews regarding Mutiny. So I was like, I definitely want to see it, especially because he did this other movie. Um, Damn, what was it called? The one that it was like he was living in a lighthouse, and this little girl who would always deliver food with her father. I think Shelter. It was all right. It wasn't the best. It wasn't one of his stronger movies. I enjoyed it, and they said the director of Mutiny directed Plane, which was actually a good movie, a good Gerard Butler movie. You know, it's hard to come by a good Gerard Butler movie. But everybody don't love comedies, and it's hard to do comedies these days because it's like every little thing people get offended by. So people said Taylor got blacklisted after a bunch of actors who should be dead, saying it reeked of ageism. And well, I don't know the whole blacklisting thing. I found out that Warner had the team that did it TV show to expand on the cast of season 1. All right, let's get back into some more hot topics. And let's get in a little horror movie news. So let's talk about Crystal Lake, which is a prequel series that's supposed to be hitting us in 2 months, I believe. Yeah, because we're at the month at the end of August, so like October, with Linda Cardellini, who I love from Freaks and Geeks. That's how far back I go with her. But anyway, she's playing Pamela Voorhees, Jason Voorhees' mother in the TV series. I know a lot of people feel a little hesitant regarding this because when we talk about Friday the 13th, everybody equates the Friday the 13th franchise with Jason. And we all know that the first movie, the killer was Pamela. I know y'all can't sit up here and say, spoiler alert, the movie is like over 40 years old. Come on now. Everybody has seen Friday the 13th at this point. But they feel like when you talk to like Friday the 13th purists, whenever you watch those, I'm going to rate every Friday the 13th movie from worst to best and all that other stuff. A lot of times they don't even place Friday the 13th as like the top movie. I think they kind of do that with Halloween too, because they feel like, oh, Halloween, yes, is a classic, and Friday the 13th, yes, is a classic, but it moves slow. Some of the kills, you can see like when they stick the thing through Kevin Bacon's throat where his neck begins and the fake neck his real neck ends and the fake neck begins and that sort of thing. So Thomas Savini makeup was a little wonky at the time. Then they'll sit and say like, oh, we know there's supposed to be the mystery and everything. And then we don't even know like it's Pamela till literally when Alice is the last one standing and she just pops up out of her little Jeep. And it's then like you gave no inclination that it could have been her up in there, but they wanted to be a complete mystery where we would just have to guess and not even realize it was this lady. So I think some people have a problem with that. Like I even heard that um the woman that played Pamela Voorhees gave some pointers, was like, well, maybe y'all need to kind of have me popping in a cameo somewhere. Like I'm in the background, or I'm in a car driving by, or I'm at the campground, like standing in a corner or something, like something to give away. Like, oh, so it was her the whole time? Like a little mystery. But it was like, no, we just gonna have the kills happen, and all of a sudden she's gonna pop up and be the killer at the end. That was the way they went with it. But some people feel like the original Friday the 13th is just too slow. So people don't like to consider that as like the best or the number one choice. They usually go with like part 2. I enjoy that one, but I think the favorite for people that's always in like the top would be Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, or the final chapter. The final chapter I feel like is the strongest one out of all of them. Yes, I love Part 6 because it's got the comedy. That's when we get zombie Jason, where they revive him like Frankenstein. They even played Teenage Frankenstein in the movie when Court gets killed in the RV with his girlfriend. That was an iconic kill with her too, where they pushed her face in the and it made the print. That's an iconic kill scene. That's some really cool scenes. And Tommy Jarvis being like the final boy of that film, I thought that was pretty awesome too. Just like with Part 4, I love Part 4 with Crispin Glover, and you get all these kids, and they kind of give them a little bit of character. Like you start to care about the people that get killed off one by one, and then some of the kills was awesome up in there too. And that was when we get like baby Corey Feldman and all that stuff. So yeah, and funny enough, I know a lot of people don't like the Friday the 13th with the remake with Jared Padalecki, I actually like that one because, and then some people like, Jason don't run. How you got him running up in that movie? Jason didn't hunt. How you got him hunting? I'm like, are y'all slow? Because if you watch Friday the 13th Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4, he's running in that movie. If you watch Friday the 13th Part 2, he's hunting. Like, you literally see he got him a little shack in the woods where that police officer went and investigated because he saw him run across the road, and that's when Jason hit him upside the head with the hammer. So for y'all to sit there and say he don't hunt, he does hunt. He was setting up traps. He set up traps in the second movie when that kid who kept picking on that girl with the flat butt got caught up with the rope on his ankle, and then Jason comes by and cuts his throat with the machete. That was a hunting move, right? Like, you set a trap for him to get caught. So all those little elements that they brought into that remake of Friday the 13th, which I would have loved to have seen more of that with Derek Mears as Jason, they brought couple of the elements from the earlier films and incorporated into this one character. So when people say that, I just be sad. I'm like, tell me you're not a real Jason fan by telling me you're not a real Jason fan. But anyway, with all that being said, I'm looking forward to this new Friday the 13th prequel. And I know a lot of people are a bit skeptical in regards to all of this, but Cardellini, the show comes out on October 15th. Now I know. So basically it follows Voorhees' life prior to the events of the first Friday the 13th film. It also stars William Catlett as Levon Brooks, though exact character details remain under wraps. And so Linda Cardellini, I believe, was at the HBO Max Emmy nominee celebration event in Hollywood, and she talked to Mark Malkin, where she basically talked about what we could expect from this upcoming show that she's about to star in as Jason's mother and the killer. So we're gonna play that clip, and we're gonna come back, and we are going to talk. Please hold.
Ask you about Crystal Lake.
Please.
Prequel to Friday the 13th. Tell me about the first time you saw Friday the 13th. Do you remember?
Oh, I was young. And I had older brothers, and so they loved that stuff. So it was cool for me to like it and not to try to be scared by it, but I was terrified by it. But I actually really loved horror movies, more so when I was younger than I do now. Now I have a little bit more anxiety. So, but the idea of everything that I've ever read that was handed to me that was in that space was for the person who was being chased, not the person who was chasing everyone. So it was really fun this time to be on the other side of the knife.
Do you go and watch all the Friday 13th before you start shooting the series?
You have to you have to buff up on them, of course. You have to remind yourself. But I remember one of my most fun movie going experiences was I saw Freddy versus Jason in the Universal City Walk, which is a giant movie theater at the height of its popularity, and people were screaming at the screen and throwing things, and it was really.
Will we be screaming and throwing things at our phones, tablets?
This is a longer format, so there's a lot more you get to do in 8 episodes. It's not necessarily like 90 minutes of pure horror. There's a lot of story there, so maybe once in a while you'll throw some things and scream.
Does it get gory?
It does get gory, yes. Yeah. So much so that I wish sometimes they weren't as practical as they were. There's a couple gory moments on set that were very practical that were pretty gross.
You go home, you have blood in the hair.
Oh, blood everywhere at one point, yeah.
I can't wait. So excited. Just hearing Crystal Lake is just.
And then being out there at night at a lake, at a camp, it's all of the things. Yeah, it's very easy to imagine how scary it is.
All right. So, I'm pretty much looking forward to this show. I just hope it doesn't suck. Anything to do with horror, I'm going to be watching it. The one thing I want to bring up that I'm pissed off about, I just got a damn email that they're raising the price for some damn Peacock. I'm like, why are we raising the price? First of all, y'all ain't got enough shit on there for y'all to be even raising the price to begin with. So why are we raising the price again for Peacock? I think now it's going to be $20. I'm like, y'all done lost your damn mind. That's why I'm looking forward to when they finally merge Peacock with YouTube Premium. I'm hoping it'll all be just one big price. Like, you're not going to be charged to be like $30 for both, because something's going to have to give. Because y'all getting out of control with the damn price gouging. I remember, funny enough, I couldn't remember the woman on the left's name, Betsy Palmer. That was her name, and she did the movie because she needed a new car. I remember hearing that legendary story because I do watch a lot of Friday the 13th documentaries and all other stuff. That were the ones and people were doing relatively quite a few new ones as of late, which I've pretty much been enjoying over on the YouTube. So yeah, so there you have it. And I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are y'all looking forward to seeing Linda Cardellini in action as Pamela Voorhees? I don't think she's looking to be trying to duplicate what she did. I mean, from the small little moment that Betsy was on screen being Pamela Voorhees, she was definitely iconic. Like, I love those names. He should have been watched. But she said, because he wasn't a very good swimmer. Get her, mommy. Get her. Kill her, mommy. Kill her. That's what you saying. Kill her, mommy. Anyway, let me not spaz out. Anyway, I definitely want to hear from y'all. You're looking forward to seeing this show. Hopefully they will do this show justice because when it always comes to taking something iconic like Friday the 13th and y'all want to stretch it out and make it into a series, I don't know. Sometimes I'm always on the fence of, is it possible y'all could make that work? But it's 8 episodes. They were able to make Bates Motel into a great show, which I thoroughly enjoy Bates Motel. But I'm just hoping that with Crystal Lake, it's like we get a lot more story, but we get some awesome kills, and she's saying that we are. So I'm gonna hold you to it, sis. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. They need to research the lawsuit. The original screenwriter of Friday the 13th didn't want Jason to be the killer. It's a one and done. I think that there was a whole thing with Victor Miller and who was it? It was the other guy that didn't, one owned the rights to Pamela, the other one didn't own the rights to Jason. So there's just been this whole legal mess where they were just like trying to get around, possibly trying to bring Friday the 13th back to life. It needs to happen because it's been far too long since we've gotten a Friday the 13th movie. So there needs to be a way for them to want to revive it. And if they do, I'm like, do we cast it in the 80s or do we bring it in modern times? Well, Jason is in the show because Colin Vincent, who y'all know was supposed to be playing Atreus in God of War series, is playing Jason, and I've seen some of the makeup that they've done for that character. So Jason is in the show. I like not the gay one. The entire cast is gay in real life, and the girl that was the final girl took it personal that Kevin was rather going. Well, a lot of the cast members I think are dead too. But also, what's her name? Larpar Lincoln passed away not too long. I think like a couple of months ago, right? Or was it a year? I can't remember. But I remember Larpar Lincoln passed away too. She played Timu Carey. Is Clayface horror? Yes, it is. Clayface is a horror film. You said YouTube Premium is for YouTube Premium, YouTube Music. Because if that's what we going, I'm gonna cancel some things. I'm going back to ads. There's no way in hell I'm sitting there paying $35 for all of that. And y'all are losing. Y'all have lost y'all fucking mind with this price gouging. Like, what are we doing? He said it's going to be big in viewership. People have been craving anything Friday the 13th for so long. Yeah, including like the little videos that they've been making, like the fan movies and stuff that they've been making online. I mean, she kind of was Timu Carey. Although I definitely enjoy that movie though. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Paramount. So Paramount, as you know, well, David Ellison, who currently owns Paramount and hasn't really been doing jack shit with it, is trying to acquire Warner Brothers and has been hitting a lot of loopholes and potholes and all kinds of roadblocks in trying to get that whole situation going. And I've been hearing like all these movie theaters companies are saying, "Oh yeah, we all are here for it." Mexico just came out and said they're here for the merger, all this other stuff. I heard one walk back their support. Wait, let me see who walked back their support. What the hell? Walk back support for my damn Grogu's fell. I was like, what the hell's going on? Coming in that walk back support for um no, it wasn't Netflix, it was something else. What are you talking about? I don't know, it doesn't matter because I was like, no, it wasn't the thing. I'm probably not asking the right asking the right question. But anyway, I'm like, that scared the hell out of me. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, let me get my composure, get back into the show. So yeah, so you already know about the whole drama that's going on with that. But now Paramount Skydance got the unmitigated gall to ask the judge overseeing the antitrust lawsuits filed by 12 states and the WGA to force the plaintiffs to pony up a whopping $1.88 billion bond to cover the company's losses related to the delay in its merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. So, according to Reuters, they said Paramount Skydance opens new tab on Monday, asked a U.S. judge to require a dozen states challenging its acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, and it said to post a 1.88 billion bond to address the cost of delay in completing a tie-up. The company must pay a fee of $7 million a day if the $110 billion merger does not close by September 30th. Paramount noted that trial on the state's legal challenge is scheduled for March, and by the time it concludes and final legal briefs are submitted in April, it will have paid Warner Brothers shareholders an unrecoverable $1.3 billion in ticking fees. This is all things that I've actually told y'all because we already know that they're not going to be able to have all of this done by September 30th. So every day they're going to have to, it's going to go up. It's going to be $7 million. And then by the time we get to the trial at the end of next year, well, not the end of next year, but like in, I believe, April or whatever, they're going to be stuck with $1.3 billion in debt. And they're already in debt with Paramount. So how you going to sit there and try? This man literally stuck his head out, was making all these promises to so many damn people, and now the shit done backfired. He's backed himself into a corner, and now he's got I give you an A for having the cojones to even put this kind of ask out there. That you are literally just like, you know what? Yeah, I screwed up. Yeah, I made a bunch of promises to people I knew I couldn't keep. I didn't think about the long haul of how this was all going to take. I thought because I'm cool, I'm friends with Trump and all these other things that I was going to be able to get through all that red tape and just get whatever I wanted given to me because of who we got in office. Not realizing that it ain't that easy. So now you've hit a lot of roadblocks. You've backed yourself into a corner, and now you're panicking. So Paramount also noted that the U.S. Justice Department approval of the deal will expire on February 19th. Paramount wants to require the posting of the bond so they can recover losses if a court approves the merger and said the states have ample resources to post even a large bond. Now, in addition to $1.7 billion in ticking fees through June 1st, Paramount would incur $190 million in incremental financing costs by delaying the merger until June 2027. Paramount offered the fees in its pursuit of Warner Brothers. In late July, Paramount agreed to pursue the acquisition of Warner Brothers until after a ruling on a challenge by states of the deal. California and 11 states sued on July 13th, arguing the deal would create a media behemoth with the power to raise prices in film and television. The Writers Guild of America also sued to challenge the deal. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said Paramount and Warner Brothers are two sophisticated companies who willfully decided to include a costly ticking fee as a provision in their merger contract. Bonta added Paramount itself agreed earlier to the timing, and it is now protesting, saying, quote, now they're trying to get a do-over. Paramount went into this process with eyes wide open. They are lying in a bed of their own making and once again trying to blackmail us to get us to back down. And that's what it is. It's like when you decided to get yourself caught up in this whole situation, because this is about the antitrust laws, all the other stuff, which is like, yeah, you're making sure that you're not trying to monopolize all this other stuff, which is going to cause, an issue of damage to other people. And you're just trying to buy up all this stuff so you could be in competition with Netflix and all the other people. But if you were doing the right thing, you would just let these people dot the I's, cross all the T's, and do what they got to do. So that way you could be able to get this thing that you want so bad. Because you went through a temper tantrum and was doing all this mess with Netflix, paid them out to walk away. So they walked away with a little chump change. I mean, chump change being in the billions, or was it billions? Like, I walked away with I think it was like over $2 billion or something or another, if I remember correctly. It might be more. But so y'all walked away with all that money, and then, or they walked away with all that money, and then you decide to make deals with Saudi Arabia. Oh, they're not going to have a say-so in our, in what movies get made. I'm like, really? So I'm going to be giving y'all all this money and not be on the board or have a say-so? I'm supposed to actually believe all of that? So y'all getting overly ambitious. You bit off more than you can chew. And now you backed yourself into a corner where you're putting yourself even in more financial debt. Like I said, at the end of the day, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. I just wish that the only thing I just feel is for the people that are working at Warner Brothers that have to have this cloud over their head of like, okay, so what is going to happen? Like, we're all on pins and needles trying to hope and pray that we'll be able to have a career out of all of this. But how can we when it's just like it's so much going on and so much uncertainty? So now they said, so I totally believe that in that line where they said Paramount went into this process with eyes wide open. Now they're laying in a bed of their own making and once again trying to blackmail us to get us to back down. So now you're trying to use intimidation. And they're like, I will not be intimidated. I follow the law. I work for the law. I don't work for you. So the lawsuit filed in Oakland federal court threatens to derail Paramount CEO David Ellison's bid to transform his company into a major rival of Netflix and Disney. Paramount said regulatory entities representing at least 68 countries have approved or declined to challenge the merger after reviewing it, and the lawsuits are the only hurdle to the deal closing. Well, it's, at the end of the day, I guess it's not up to all these people that are like, oh yeah, well, we approve, all these other countries approve. We in the United States, sir. Why are we sitting there concerned about what's going on in all these other places of who are approving it? So it's just like, let's these people do their job. So that is the latest on this mess. Now, I just thought it was just hilarious that y'all had the unmitigated gall to sit up here and even be like, you know what? I want y'all to foot the bill on the mess we made. And I'm just hoping at the end of all of this that David Zaslav looks at it and is just like, you know what? I'm done with this deal. This deal's not going to happen. I'm dead in the deal. And then now you got to pay us more money, like a exiting fee or whatever. So it's like David Zaslav probably sort of like saw the forest for the trees, saw this whole thing of how it was going to play out, and was like, you know what? Because y'all being so annoyingly persistent and you're not willing to listen, I'm gonna teach this brat and his annoying ass father a lesson because they act like that, whatever they want. I'm just give me what you know how there's people are that's in business. It's like they're spoiled little brats, think that the world owes them things and that they could just buy up whatever they want by throwing money around. And look where they are. Pissed off and shit in the brick because they're gonna be stuck in so much debt. So that's the latest on this right now. I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Paramount and all the drama that's surrounding the Paramount and them having the nerve, the cheek, the nerve, the unmitigated gall of trying to get them, the WGA and the states to cover this crazy bill that they've put upon their own self. They want somebody to pay for their debt. Like, where they do that at? Anyway, so let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I was like, damn, how did I went all the way up here? The merger would cost workers close to 5K jobs. And then he was somebody he want to move it to another state. And it's like, well, if you move something to another state, then You expect me to take a pay cut? So it's like I always say, the follower of a fool is a bigger fool than the original. They made deals not knowing the rules of the industry by following Trump, who doesn't know the rules of the government. Exactly. When you just putting a bunch of people who are askers, and people need to also realize this, just because you're a billionaire, just because you own a company or whatever, does not mean that you're smart. There's a lot of people who have businesses who are just the dumbest of the dumb. And you see it when you look at people like the Jeff Bezoses, Donald Trump, who's failed at every job or deal that he's put together, and so many others. You see it all the time with a lot of moguls. That it's like, not well, why is this kept? 9 times out of 10, a lot of these people inherit their business from their daddy and don't know a damn thing about business. The father just gives them something just so that way they go away. Okay, y'all. So now let's get into our next topic. And let's talk about Hayden Panettiere. So more stuff is coming out about Hayden. I know they said they did the autopsy. It was inconclusive. They didn't find any type of foul play or whatever the case is. Although there are some that are kind of saying maybe I need to kind of look at the boyfriend who she got back together with, her ex, Brian Hickerson, who people have said in the past that when Hayden gets around Brian, she's not herself. Her mother, who I'm gonna read the fuck out of as I go through this, because she ain't no damn Satanist either. And somebody had the nerve to jump in my comments when I had posted. I don't know if I posted on the. I think I posted it on the page that I saw the article on, which I think was like People Magazine or something. Or it might have been Variety. But anyway, so the mother came out and was talking about her daughter's death, and the way she sounded, it just sounded like, girl, you ain't never loved that child. And shout out to Gayle King, because Gayle King read her ass too and was like, um, if that was my mother, I'd be like, well, damn, that's all you got? Because, Hayden has said in the past that, well, I mean, especially when she was promoting the book and she was talking about the book, she said that her mother wasn't. Oh, like she never knew her mother as her mother. She always knew her mother as her momager. And it was always about the parts and the roles and everything. And her mother was a former, I don't know, I think she was a soap actress or a former soap actress. Anyway, she used to do soaps, but I don't think her career was popping like Hayden's did. So when she had the kid, Hayden became, in a way, her meal ticket in so many ways, and started trying out on auditions or whatever. Hayden was acting before she could even walk and talk. And so that's all the girl knew. So there was a tumultuous amount of things that they were saying, and it was the fact that she said that she never felt that she got like real love from her mother, that everything was it always came across as like a business arrangement or transaction and that sort of thing. And when she finally decided to break free of her mother, when she, was on Heroes, which is at the height of her career, her mother was like, and she said, I don't think I want you to be my manager anymore. Like she literally cut ties with her as her boss. The only thing her mother says to her is, "You owe me." Like, excuse you, that's what you say to me? Like, what do I owe you? I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be an actress. You put me in this situation. And then I became a big star from it, being in movies and all that other stuff and TV shows and commercials. You put me in this predicament. So what do I owe you? So it just seemed like the mother was always about trotting and prostituting her child to be famous. And there are parents out here who pimp out their kids to be stars because they were trying to be an actor and didn't happen, or you know the well runs dry, or whatever the case is. So when you couldn't hack it as an actor, a lot of parents will go extra hard on their kids and push them into that whole world, and then they end up on drugs, messed up, and all kinds of things. And then you leave them open for predators, especially when they looking for love in all the wrong places. And clearly that's what some people was feeling like Hayden was doing when she got back with Brian Hickerson. Because word on the street was she kept it from her friends. The friends didn't even know. They were kept in the dark about her getting back with his ex. And my thing is this: if you gotta hide the fact that from your friends that genuinely care about you, that you're hooking up with an ex who is dangerous and is known for being physically abusive towards you, that's a problem. And it also makes me think, like, with them leaving Los Angeles to go to South Carolina, and then within 24 hours of that period, she ends up dead. You can't tell me that I ain't looking at him as no damn suspect. So, according to the story, let's get into it. So, yeah, so her, speaking of Hayden's mother, Leslie Vogel, well, I say Hayden's estranged mother because they weren't really on speaking terms. She spoke out about her daughter's shocking death at the age of 36. So Hayden Panettiere's mother, Leslie Vogel, made her first comments about the death of her daughter on Tuesday, putting scrutiny on Panettiere's on-again, off-again boyfriend, actor Brian Hickerson. This person in her life that we have been trying to get rid of for quite some time was with her at her death, and that was Brian Hickerson, she told NBC News. Hickerson and his brother Zach were reportedly inside the Greenville, South Carolina apartment complex when Panettiere went into cardiac arrest. A police report referenced by NBC News described Zach as very emotional, but that Brian remained composed until EMS pronounced the actress dead. During the encounter, Brian Lee reportedly produced a bag of medication. Police say he said Panettiere had been taken. Panettiere's case of death remains under investigation, according to the Greenville County Coroner's Office. In the interview, Vogel said she didn't know much about the police investigation. Well, as a mother, shouldn't you be like getting on the phone and trying to find out what the hell's going on with your child? I mean, not only did you buried two of your kids. I think she only had two kids. So it was her, and you buried Jensen, what was a couple of years ago, not too long ago, and then you burying your daughter. Well, she hasn't been buried yet, but she's not with us. They said there's a lot of history in the past that Brian has enabled Hayden many times, and this is why her father and I have been concerned for a long time about him. Panettiere first started dating Hickerson back after a 2018 stint in rehab. In her recent released memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, she wrote that Hickerson had beat her to the point that she didn't feel comfortable leaving the house for weeks. Police arrested him the following year on allegations of domestic abuse against an anonymous person. In 2020, Panettiere asked for a restraining order against Hickerson, and the next year he pleaded no context to the abuse charge and was sentenced to 4 years of probation. In the book, Panettiere also described times that she and Hickerson would be drinking after her time in rehab that led to alleged DV. An autopsy on Monday reported no signs of trauma that would have contributed to the death, according to officials. Vogel said that despite reports, Hickerson and Panettiere were in a relationship at the time of her death. In May, Vogel told Page Six she had cut off communication with Panettiere and said, "I think it becomes very difficult to be, true to yourself, and I think Hayden sadly lost her way, and I wish it were different," Vogel told NBC News. "I wish she had stayed true to herself because she had many incredible attributes." And what attributes were those? Because you're saying she would need to be true to herself. She felt like she couldn't be true to herself as long as you was her mother. Because, she talked about that she had a turbulent relationship with her mother in the book. And that's what I was saying. Like when I wrote in the comments on one of the things, I was like, but you were the cause of why Hayden was the way she was. If you was actually a mother to her and showed love and all that other stuff, instead of always worrying about the career and getting a job and having her use her money to support the family when the husband had a whole job as a a lieutenant in the fire department. And you sit there and talk about, oh yeah, these are per diem situations, and that's like coming out of like, so she's having to pay for like the phone and this and this and the house. You talk about her mother bought her a house, and they was all living in it. So you using her money to buy a house for all y'all to live in, when it's like you said it was supposed to be for Hayden, but why y'all all staying up in here? So it was like in a way you was using it felt like you was using your daughter as a cash cow, which is why I always find it weird that when you have like those parent-child situations and the child becomes the employee and basically is taking care of the whole family, that's when it becomes a slippery slope. So yeah, I what I'm saying. I was like, you was the problem with why she was, and it was like, oh yeah, also point blame and everybody else, but Hayden. I'm like, first of all, if you actually read her book, you would know what she said about her mother. And number two, Hayden took responsibility for a lot of the things that responsibility and accountability for a lot of the things that was going on in her life. So yeah, she called her mother a perfectionist in the book and alleged that Vogel superglued a fallen tooth back into her mouth so she wouldn't lose a job. She also claimed her mother pushed her to dress in more girly outfits instead of her preferred tomboy style. And then when the book was released, Vogel went and told, because I remember this a couple of months ago, Vogel told Page Six she believed the present drama is partially to sell books. As many parents of entertainment children know, we are all too familiar with the painful observation of watching the self-destructive paths they sometimes choose. No parent hopes for this scenario. We want our children to be the best of themselves and live a peaceful, joyful life. Sadly, this is out of our control. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. And the question remains is like, could Hayden have been saved? Because I felt like a lot of the people that she surrounded herself with, including Hollywood, her friends, all the other stuff, a lot of y'all failed her. Because where y'all failed her was, I believe, when y'all saw those interviews of her when she was on that book tour. Because you can't tell me she wasn't under the influence when she was doing them book tours. She was slurring her words. You could literally see that she was struggling up there. Even Gayle King pointed that out. That it was like, yeah, she seemed like she was still going through some things. And even at that point, where were those people that reached out to her? I mean, I don't know. Did they reach out to her? Were her friends trying to come in her life, trying to help her out or whatever the case is? I mean, I understand, like, look, you can only do but so much. You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So at least if you went about your way and you tried to help her, then there's the effort. But that's not the only thing. So there was this other article regarding this that I came across because the mother's calling out the boyfriend, which they were like, well, you talk about your daughter. You didn't talk about like how amazing and everything she was. You literally so caught up in um blaming everybody else instead of just talking about the good times with your child. So now I'm side-eyeing you because I'm like, you just a horrible mother because that little statement was just pointing the finger at everybody instead of taking responsibility or just at least saying something positive about your daughter. So a director who worked on with Hayden on one of her final movies is sharing his perspective on the final chapter of her life. Now, Griff First directed The Hero Star and A Breed Apart, the 2025 direct-to-video action horror movie that ultimately became her second to last screen project after she passed away Sunday at 36. First said that he met Panettiere about a decade prior to working with her on the film, saying, I knew that she was insanely talented. So when she signed on to do this picture we were shooting, I was psyched, he said in an Instagram video. I really wanted to work with her. First said that he received word that something was amiss with Panettiere when she first arrived for production and that her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Brian Hickerson, was with her. So I get word from the movie security team who picked her up from the airport that something was off, and I didn't think much about it. And so I left set and I walked over to greet her and her boyfriend Brian. He opened the door and Hayden was incredibly sweet, gracious, and excited to work, but she was not okay. First didn't specify what seemed off and not okay about the actress, saying, I'm not going to get into details of why that was, but having worked on over 100 movies and seeing just about everything, it was pretty clear that she wasn't okay, he said, and that energy in her room was pretty dark. Well, it definitely is like he's got this nasty negative energy about him whenever she's around him. And I guess I was just reflecting that. So I don't know. Was he saying like she was using drugs or whatever? The filmmaker said he hoped that the actress was improving following the publication of her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning, saying recently with her new book and the press she's been doing, I believe she was getting better. And we'd even talked about doing another picture together recently, which is what makes this shitty news hit even harder. Now, first asked that Panettiere really was incredible and described her as a force to be reckoned with, saying when we did this movie, that was definitely still in there. And there was something else in there too that made it a lot harder to reach. And then he said, rest easy. So I don't know. It's just like, yeah, why would you keep going back to that man who was just a dark fixture in your life and abused you and all these other things? And they said that maybe her drug use and everything started around the time when she had that zebra accident because they showed her ride a little zebra when she was younger. and I think she fell off and she pinched a nerve in her back or something or another, which was weird because somebody was like, and they pointed this out because when she said that in one of the TMZ cameras, this was a while ago, and they was like, "Are you okay or whatever?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm just," because she was on the crutches, and she's like, "Yeah, just a pinched nerve in my back." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. So if you got a pinched nerve in your back, why are you wearing a backpack? I mean, that's going to put pressure on your back even more." So she was just dealing with a lot, going through a lot of demons. Yeah, she was, we've heard all the positive things that she was pushing for. Like, she would always advocate for extras, and she was very politically motivated because Alyssa Milano went and gave that tribute and everything. So she's always been out there and gung ho and fighting for the bigger person, or fighting for the people that were going through some things. I just wish that people would had fought for her just as hard as she would fight for others. So that's sad. That's it's just a sad situation here. But last but certainly not least, we got another thing regarding the whole situation where I was telling you about earlier, that police went and made um a call to, well, they made like they popped up over at that Brian and Zach Hickerson's grandmother's home in Greenville, South Carolina. So they stopped by for a welfare check days after Hayden Panettiere was found dead at a nearby Airbnb. Two cars with the Greenville Police Department arrived at the property belonging to Betty Ellison on Wednesday at 8:20 a.m. And this is according to page 6. An officer approached the residence and repeatedly knocked on the front door, but received no response. Simultaneously, her colleagues tried the side door. We can confirm that Zach, who's 38, was home at the time. Now, the officers left the property, which both Zach and Brian, 37, were pictured at on Tuesday at around 3 minutes. The officers returned about an hour and a half later and went around the back to conduct a welfare check, though they did not specify the individuals involved. They left about 10 minutes later. Now, Ellison's 4-bedroom home, which has its blinds closed all morning, is about 5 miles away from the Judson Mill Lofts apartment complex where Panettiere, 36, died of a suspected overdose on Sunday afternoon. When reached for comment, a rep for GPD echoed the welfare check explanation on page 6, while the Hickerson brothers have not responded to repeated inquiries. TMZ went on to report that police are conducting a death investigation to determine whether there could be a criminal conduct behind Panettiere's sudden passing. Now, just before 2 p.m. on Sunday, cops and medical personnel responded to the Airbnb where she had been temporarily staying after receiving a call about a woman who was in apparent cardiac arrest. Brian, whose years-long relationship with the actress was marked by multiple allegations of DV, several arrests, and even criminal pleas, was reportedly asleep in the bedroom when Zach entered the unit and found Panettiere unresponsive in a chair in the living room. So what was it that she just took her medication and went hold on and then she just passed away while he was at home and the brother was sleeping? Although the incident report, according to the incident report, Zach described Panettiere to the police as his brother's girlfriend, though the exact nature of their on-again, off-again relationship remains unclear. Brian, who has struggled with addiction, then showed officers a bag of medication the hero star had allegedly been taking. As first responders initiated advanced cardiac life support measures, they said that Zach became very emotional. And after resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful, per the coroner's office, Panettiere, former child star, who was open to her struggles with anxiety, alcoholism, opioid addiction, and postpartum depression, was pronounced unalive at 2:30 p.m., in which Brian became emotional. So he was just trying to, I guess, hold his composure and everything until she passed, and then he let it all out. So I don't know. I don't want to be out here quick to point fingers. It seems like a lot of people saying that whenever Hayden got around Brian, things got pretty dark. And so they're saying do with that what you will. But until police look into it and feel like he's a suspect in any way, right now, all we could do is speculate and leave it at TBD until they figure out what happened with this young lady. Because it's just sad that someone this young is gone so soon. And this is something that I feel like needs to be discussed in Hollywood. Why are we losing so many young actors? Like, this is not usual that so many young people are being lost. And I know a lot of people saying, like, like, this one really hurts because, yeah, a lot of people liked Hayden Panettiere. She was very popular. People loved her in the horror world and, part of the Scream franchise. And then, of course, if you bring up Bring It On, All or Nothing with Solange, where Solange made some weird ass condolence or whatever. I said, yeah, because all them Knowles are brain dead, pretty much. Like, they're all lobotomized over there. So you're not going to get real emotion from any of them Knowles and Carters. So she said what she said. A lot of people was, felt a way about losing Hayden, and people was also shocked that the black community loved Hayden Panettiere. Yeah, the black people, black millennials, yes, they love Hayden because a lot of them grew up watching Bring It On, All or Nothing. So that was like their movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the original Bring It On with Kirsten Dunst and Elijah Dushku, but the one with her and Solange, that was a good one too. So she was favored in a lot of black households, and yeah, a lot of people like Heroes as well. So people grew up with her, and I think also maybe the reason why people was feeling the way about Hayden's death is because she was so young. She was 37, and I'm like, damn, you reminding the younger generation of their mortality. There be time when I be hearing people around my age dying. I'm like, God damn, I know anybody could die anytime at any age. You could die the moment you was taking out your mama's coochie to people living to be 100. So people die at any age. It doesn't, but I think the constant reminder of like, damn, I could go at any time. That's just something that people don't want to be people don't want to be thinking about their own mortality at such a young age, because we should be focusing on so many other things. But it also goes to show that, you know what? The prescription medications are the devil. That this needs to be a conversation about our pharmaceutical companies and how people get so addicted to drugs, particularly opioids. So there's that. There's also the fact, no matter how Hollywood doesn't really protect its stars, where they get caught up in so much temptation, and because people are working for these celebrities, they won't want to tell them no. They don't have their best interests at heart. They're not looking out. They're just seeing y'all as nothing but a cash cow or meal ticket. It's like, no, I don't want to overstep too much, because then if I say something and you trying to do whatever it is that you're doing, then you might fire me. And then, of course, now you're surrounding yourself with people who really don't give a crap about you. So it's literally a slippery slope when it comes to this industry of like, who should be coming in to protect these artists from the dangers of what's going on in the world. I think also maybe what it was with Hayden is that she didn't have a good parental foundation. Because there's plenty of kids out here who will tell you how hard it is to navigate that have been child stars, and it's how hard to get through this industry and the temptations and the yachting and the trafficking and all the other craziness that goes on, and how the parents be pimping out their kids. There's parents out here who will genuinely try to make sure that their children stays on the straight and narrow, and they try to prevent them from getting caught up in the dark side of Hollywood. So I just think it's all based on having a strong foundation behind you as well. So I say all this to say, excuse me, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Hayden Panettiere? Chad, y'all remember back in the day when Perez Hilton had a name for her too? Yeah, he supposed to be in recovery. Remember when he called her Hayden Panettiere? Yeah, he was a mess on her too. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Nancy Mace got she looked like a bull dagger. Neutrogena basically killed their business because Hayden comments about losing her contract over postpartum. Yeah. People out here still using Neutrogena. Rochelle Jordan announced on X, Mariah Carey, see you soon. Mimi T's Glitter 25 on her anniversary issue. Always have new remixes. I think Rochelle Jordan just put out something, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been remixes or EP or something. I didn't really pay attention to it. Vault Track, Daydream had a new Underneath the Stars remix by Eric Cupper, Loverboy by Rochelle Jordan. When they removed Glitter off of streaming, all that was left was the original demo version of Loverboy and the rarities. And it's made me realize it's a superior version of the song. Oh, excuse me. Y'all ain't hear that. It is now. Whitney passing taught me well that grown people can only say themselves. Yeah, definitely. Did y'all see that mess that T.S. Madison said that Billy Porter is I knew Whitney Houston and he was getting mad over that. I think it was the wigs. That's what she was referring to. She wasn't saying singing. Black millennials lost a good one, and I'm hearing that they loved Rosie O'Donnell as well, saying how Ellen became the favorite lesbian is a mystery. But that was Middle America white folks that was pulling for her. But we was all about, Rosie because of the koosh balls. Did you hear Sucker Ass Smith won worst journalist of all time? Yeah, and he is mad over it. I was raised by a bunch of black women, and you still a coon. What that got to do with anything? I don't care how many black women you was raised by. They ain't raised you to be a tap dancer for them crackles over there. Capitulating with them and kissing Trump ass. And the man was telling you to do all that, or go on Bill Maher's tired ass show and spewing the propaganda you've been propaganding, all because you want money. Zay Love Studio said it's so wild that she was 36 and we just celebrated Marilyn Monroe's 100th birthday. I know, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hayden Panettiere's birthday is in 2 days. It's so weird. Raven Simone and Hillary Duff are the only ones that never went the route the others did. I mean, yeah, but child, there has been some mention that everything ain't all the way right with Hillary, especially her being 16, dating one of the Madden brothers, and he was 25, and how she lost her virginity to a grown-ass man, and some of the little things that she got caught up in. So that was like the most controversial thing that Hillary could get into that we knew about. But I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to well, yeah, Raven Simone always stayed out of like we never heard any bad stuff about her. But yeah, Hillary Duff, that was like I think her biggest controversy was the thing with her and who was it, Joe Madden? Yeah, there was that was the big controversy with her. And then, people started calling her out because she had Joe Madden up at MSG performing with her. And they're like, you had Joe Cromer up on stage? I'm like, here y'all go. And I'm not excusing it, but it seems that older men getting with younger girls, because remember Wilma Valderrama and Lindsay Lohan. It seems like, and he was damn near 30 messing with her. Oh, no, it wasn't her. It was Demi Lovato. What am I talking about? It was Demi Lovato, right? And Wilma Valderrama dating him when she was young, and he was damn near 30. And I'm not saying it's right, but it seems to me in Hollywood, and I've always told y'all this, it's different to the sense of when you're young and you're around a lot of adults, you think in your mind that you're grown because you're around all these grown ass people, or you feel like you wise beyond your years. I only connect with adults in the room. I can't connect with kids my own age. So there's a lot of that, especially when you're in the entertainment industry. Because I was I was a lot like that too when I was a kid. I was always gravitating towards hanging out with adults and being around adults and having conversations with adults and that stuff. I never felt like kids my own age I could relate to. So when you in that sense, you be thinking that you know every damn thing. The grown people should know better though. And there should be no reason why, as a grown person, you should be trying to get with somebody that's a child. He went right to Hannity as usual, as the others always do. Once your own community did something, oh yeah, they always run to the Republicans. And Hannity don't give a damn about you. Why are they saying they don't like me? Because you're a coon, bitch. That's why. Anyway, let's lighten up the load. Let's get into some music news. And let's talk about the VMAs, because Santa and Taylor Swift seem like they're the two pop icons that are doing it big over there on the VMAs when it comes to the nominations. Now, funny enough, I'm not going to hold you, but I totally forgot about the Video Music Awards. I was like, but wait a minute. Once they made the announcement, I'm like, wait a minute. Would the VMAs, wouldn't they be popping up like on our TV screens like next week or something. Like normally at the end of the month of August is when we get the VMAs. Since when do y'all release the nominees at damn near the end of August, and then we get the show in late September? That I don't. When did y'all start doing that? So maybe I don't know. They trying something different because we normally get it like early September. So yeah, the nominations came out, and as it should be, Madonna is leading the nominees with 11. Thanks largely to the short film she made for her celebrated new album Confessions 2. The visual is up for Video of the Year as well as host of creative categories like Best Direction, Cinematography, and Choreography. It also anchors the returning Best Dance category, which was given out regularly for decades starting in 1989, but hasn't been awarded since 2019. Probably because a lot of y'all ain't been dipping it and doing it like y'all need to be in the choreography department, or in the I should say the best dance category, which means like y'all ain't been really delivering the good dance tunes. Now, Madonna and Sabrina Carpenter's Confessions 2 track "Bring Your Love" also picked up nods for Song of the Year and Best Collaboration, while Madonna is up for Artist of the Year as well. Swift, meanwhile, earned 9 nominations. She too was up for Artist of the Year, while the video for her Life of a Showgirl hit, the only hit off that album, The Fate of Ophelia, is nominated for Video of the Year, Best Pop, and numerous creative prizes. The visual for Swift's other big Showgirl hit, Opalite, also scored a lone nod for Best Direction. For Video of the Year, The Confessions 2 short film and Fate of Ophelia will compete against Ariana Grande's Hate That I Made You Love Me, Bruno Mars' I Just Might, who's Generation? Generation and Young Lean's Storm, and Sabrina Carpenter's Tears. Well, I have the so far, because I did vote, and from the way I voted this morning, I definitely have the who's in the lead. So we'll get into that in a second because I'm gonna put it up. Now, as far as these, I'll talk in a second about what I think about these Video of the Year nominees. Because I'm like, Bruno Mars doing the same old in his damn videos. Fate of Ophelia, I definitely love the video for that song. It is a good song too. It's giving Lana Del Rey tease with the vocals and the music and everything, how it is. I definitely like the video. The video is definitely entertaining. It's an eye, it's a visual. But to me, out of all of them, I mean, Ariana Grande's Hate That I Made You Love Me, I really like the video. I like Justin Long, been a fan of his for a long time. I like the video, but I have to say I'd love Pedal more than I like Hate That I Made You Love Me. But I guess that couldn't be nominated because that video just came out not too long ago. And that was before, I guess, they started coming up with the nominations for this. I don't see Ariana Grande winning that. I definitely see Madonna winning it. And I'm gonna tell you why when I show you the whole situation. So Artist of the Year will find Madonna and Swift competing against Grande, Mars, Carpenter, and that racist Morgan Wallen. And in Song of the Year, Madonna and Carpenter's Bring Your Love will go against BTS with Swim, Ella Langley's Choosing Texas, which I finally got around to hearing that song. It actually is pretty good. Hunter X's Golden, Olivia Dean's Man I Need, You're the Man I Need, Talk to Me. Talk to me. Yeah, that song is still in my head. Talk to me, talk to me. Pink Pantheress and Zara Larson Stateside remix, and Ray's Where's My Husband? Now, lastly, the VMA's best. First of all, I like the dance remix of "Where's My Husband." That really gets me going. Lastly, the VMA's best new artist category will feature newcomers Bella K, Cordis. Oh, and there's a nepo baby in here too. Magnus Farrell. Now, for those who don't know, or Farrell, I should say, if y'all don't know who that is, that's Will Ferrell's son. Yes, he's a singer now. So Magnus Farrell is a Best New Artist nominee. Malcolm Todd, Miles Smith, Sienna Spiro, and Stella Lefty. So you can vote in all 13 VMA categories, and it's going to close on September 25th at 6 p.m. And they said Best New Artist will continue into the show itself. The VMAs will broadcast live from Los Angeles. Oh, they went back to LA. On September 7th, airing simultaneously on CBS, MTV, and Paramount Plus. And that's why I was saying to a friend of mine earlier, I'm like, wait a minute. So y'all can sit up in here and put the challenge on Paramount Plus. Y'all can air the VMA simultaneously on Paramount Plus and these other places, but y'all can't put Drag Race on Paramount Plus. And I'm talking about the regular Drag Race. I'm not talking about All Stars. We can't get Drag Race up there? Like, y'all doing too much. So yeah, well, Madonna, she has Video of the Year, Artist of the Year, Song of the Year. That would be the song with Sabrina Carpenter. Best Collaboration, that's the song with Sabrina Carpenter. Best Dance for Confessions 2, the film. Best Direction, Confessions 2, the film. Best Art Direction, Confessions 2, the film. Best Cinematography for Confessions 2. Best Editing for Confessions 2. Best Choreography, Confessions 2. And Best Visual Effects. So, and Torso definitely did their big one on that. So I do have the tally. You can still vote or whatever. I don't know what the percentage is now, but this is, the full-on votation of the situation. So hold on. Let me take this out. And do I got to take the other thing out too? Yeah, we're going to take this out. So we got Madonna with Confessions to the Film at 42.7%. We got Taylor Swift at 27%. Ariana Grande Frappuccino at 15%. Bruno Mars with 6%. Or 6, well, it's over 6%. Sabrina Carpenter over 4%. And Generation with over 2%. I'm guessing Generation is a K-pop group or whatever, because I never heard of y'all, Chad. But yeah, so that's that's the score on the situation for so far. That was from when I voted this morning. I don't know, it probably went up since then. But in regards to Video of the Year, I definitely see it going to Madonna, because Ariana Grande, Hate That I Made You Love Me. Like I said, I love Pedal more. And yeah, it's a good video, but it's not enough for you to win. Bruno Mars, Bruno gives Bruno. It's just like, girl, you're boring. Generation, don't nobody know who the hell that is, so y'all not even winning. Sabrina Carpenter, Tears, cute song, cute video, but not enough to get the children to vote. So if a lot of the kids are gonna be mad that Madonna walks away with it, oh well, go play, go eat some pussy. How about that? And Taylor Swift, The Fatal Feeling. Yeah, the song is cute and the video I like, but no, Taylor don't need to get it. Give it to the queen. And, this is her being nominated in all the decades that she's been a pop star, which has been over 5 decades, half a century, Chad. So, Confessions to the Film, I feel like should get it because it's a visual. It's something. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't think something's been. I don't think it's what Madonna did has ever been done. Meaning, I don't think we've ever gotten someone who makes a little movie and then has the songs playing, like she's traveling through each thing and it's like little segments of a music video. We're getting 6 songs. Like, I don't think that's something we've never experienced. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. There may have been people that have done it. I mean, we know like Beyonce's done the visual album. That's not the same of what Madonna gave us, which was like a 9-minute. I mean, 13 if you got the credits and all the other stuff. But a 9-minute music video where we got 6 songs from the album, and then we actually ended up getting the full "Bring Your Love" music video. So I don't think anything's ever been done like that, which is why I'm like, yeah, I think they should give it to her because it's something different. Madonna's an icon. Getting her to show up at the VMAs would definitely be a great treat. And I've heard some people say that they believe that at the VMAs, she'll even perform Danceteria. I definitely think that's a good idea, that she should be able to do that. That she should be able to do Danceteria. And if she does, she'll do everybody get up and you can do your little arm dance and all the other stuff. But and you don't have to be up there trying to do all that choreography like you're trying to keep up with them 22-year-olds. It's like, ma'am, you are 68. I'm not trying to put limitations on you because of your age, but we already been here when you had the hip surgery and the knee cartilage the cartilage had to get taken out your knee. So we want you energetic and healthy. You don't need to be up there trying to compete with these kids. Let them 20-year-olds do all that crazy choreography. You just move around that stage and give good stage presence and pose every now and again and stand in front of that Beyonce diva fan and let that hair blow. That's what you need to do. Letting them bitches know, bitch, I'm Madonna. And you don't got to do all that crazy choreography. So if it wasn't for Madonna being a part of this, I probably wouldn't have watched the VMAs, but I'll be watching too. Is there anything else to add? Because I'm like, I don't know if I want to go through all these categories. We already brought up who was in there and all this other stuff. I mean, we got Best Pop. Did we talk about that? Ariana Grande, Hate That I Made You Love Me. Then we got Charlie XCX SS26, Lisa Dream featuring Kentaro Sakaguchi. Olivia Rodrigo, Drop Dead, Sabrina Carpenter, House Tour, Tate McRae, Nobody's Girl, and Taylor Swift, The Fate of Ophelia. So there's that. And then we got for Best Hip Hop, Cardi B featuring Kalani, Don Toliver, E85, Drake, Janice, STFU, Megan Thee Stallion, Lover Girl, Travis Scott, Dumbo, and Tyler, the Creator, Sugar on My Tongue. I do like that Sugar on My Tongue song. Although I definitely think they'll probably give it to Cardi B because you want Cardi B to show up and Cardi B is just going to give character. So I would definitely give it to her. I can't believe that they got Justin Bieber in the best R&B category. Y'all tried it with that one, but nevertheless, um, and then so they were talking about who should win Video of the Year at the 2026 MTV Video Music Awards. I will go through this entire article on Billboard, but I feel like I already stated what I needed to state in regards to that thing, so we don't need to rehash it. But I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you looking forward to the upcoming MTV Video Music Awards? And who do you think should win Video of the Year? And who are you rooting for to win snatch a bunch of moon men? Now, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I almost forgot to take that out. Anyway, let me see what the people saying in the comments. I read that girls are way more mature than boys their own age. Men age differently than girls. A girl who's 15 or 16 finds boys their own age still immature, not on their level of maturity. Well, girls, I believe, their frontal lobe develops faster than guys. I think they get theirs at 24 or 25, and men brains develop at 26. So voted for Madonna every day. Even some of the Gen Z actually see Madonna winning Artist of the Year and Video of the Year. He even stated Ariana is getting none because after her tour, she's going into hiding. As for Olivia, the show is in Los Angeles and her tour is on the East Coast. Yeah, so she's not going to be able to make it. And so people have to understand that. A lot of these kids out here grinding and touring and performing and all that stuff. They don't have time to be out here, oh, the secret, I want her to win. Like, whatever. I mentioned Young Lean before. Well, I know who Young Lean is. I'm talking about Generation. It's that top 3 favorite male musicians, knowing you and the rest of the chat, you probably wouldn't like his music or the Storm short film. Oh, you voted for that for Video of the Year? You said Generation is a producer collective of Young Lean, a white rapper from Sweden, is singing over the beat. Looking at these nominees is making me realize how alternative my music taste actually is. He said Rosie helped Confessions to rebound in iTunes Monday by talking about Madonna and giving free CDs to the audience on her first night of Kimmel. Look out here trying to promote her friend. All right, so now let's move on from the VMAs to the Grammys. So, we have an update on that whole story regarding the whole BTS pulling them, their Grammy, their eligibility to vote and be a part of the Grammys and that stuff because the Grammys decided to put together this new Asian pop category, and they felt that it was racist. Mind you, y'all taking a whole black genre and just put an Asian face on it, call it the K-pop. I mean, but then again, it's none of my business. I'm just saying. The Recording Academy revamped its brand for Best New Asian Pop Music Performance category after the award's presumptive frontrunners BTS announced last month that they wouldn't submit to the Grammys this year, saying, quote, the Grammy organization exists to serve all music people, and part of that is working to ensure that no voice or community gets overlooked or misunderstood, Recording Academy CEO Harvey Mason Jr. said in a statement on Friday. It's clear from our numerous conversations with many stakeholders over the past 2 weeks that regardless of our intent and desire to be even more inclusive, there are some artists in this space who feel that this category isn't representing the music they worked so hard to create. So in the way they wish. As a musician myself, I take that to heart. Well, yeah, Harvey Mason, you are a musician. You should know better. And I said that the first time. Billboard first reported on Friday that Mason Jr. and other Grammy leaders had been meeting with community members from across various Asian music genres, including K-pop, J-pop, C-pop, and India over the past 2 weeks, seeking insight on how to improve the new category. It's a notable move given that the deadline for Grammy submissions is just a week away. The first round voting is slated to start on October 12th. So they're trying to figure out how they can clean all this up so that way they can get BTS to what? Show up and perform as well as be nominated. Like, to me, when I look at it, it's like I understand like how it comes across. It does come across a bit racist. I mean, quiet as it's kept, we don't even like it on the black side. How y'all want to just pull anything black as in the urban category? It feels a little racist with that. But do we hear one of the things I want to know, and this is genuine? Why aren't black people as outraged over some of the stereotypical categories that they've put under the umbrella of the music industry, but now they willing to listen because of the K-pop thing? Why? Because K-pop is popular? K-pop, J-pop, C-pop, all of that is popular right now? Is that why that all of a sudden y'all willing to give a listening ear to that? Or is it that black people aren't really piping up when it comes to the whole urban category situation? Because there'd be so many. I don't like this. I've never particularly liked the segregation of art in music. I mean, I understand it in film because it's like best documentary, best, cinematography. You have to try to hit all the things. But when it comes to music, the way y'all just sectionalize everything is just crazy. And I think maybe because in this generation, they don't segregate music, especially because we aren't beholden. They aren't beholden to like radio play. I mean, yeah, some people still hold on to the whole radio play situation, but a lot of times I feel like people are more caught up in kids will get more of their music by listening to Spotify and Apple Music and whatever other streaming platform they can get their hands on. That's literally how they're acquiring their music taste or whatever, or satisfying their music taste. They're creating their own playlists. They're doing all of that stuff. Like I even said, for me, like I'm starting to feel like I'm slipping away from knowing what's like keeping my ear to the street on what's popping in music and all that other stuff. And what's been keeping me up on that situation. Well, I should silence my damn watch because now they tell me I need to start moving around. I can't if I'm doing a show. I always have to have my watch always tells me like you got to stand up and walk around and do all this stuff, motivate. You don't want to be sitting on your ass all day. Anyway, um, I've never liked the segregation of music and all that other stuff. That's always kind of been an issue. I mean, growing up, that was what I was engulfed in. And being at VH1, I understood all of that other stuff. But now it's like the times have changed. We don't segregate and categorize things anymore. Now it's just like the lines are blurred. And what I was saying before, because I had to think about what I was saying until I got distracted by my watch, is that, we get to a place where we I don't know. It's just the thing with music. It's just hard to well, especially for me. I always feel like I'm losing my grip on what's the hottest thing that people listen to, or what good music is out there. Luckily, working at Madison Square Garden, when I don't be familiar with a lot of artists, seeing them performing all this, I was like, oh, they're interesting. I want to check them out or whatever. Or sometime when I hear the playlist before the concert starts, I'll Shazam, be like, oh wait, what's this song? And then I'll add it to the queue, whatever the case is. So that usually helps keep my ear to the street. Or I'm always like looking online and listening to things and reading up on things, and I get recommendations from people because I can't always be up on what's going on. So it's getting more and more difficult because of algorithms and things of that nature. But with this whole thing, I hope they're able to work it out on what they were doing. So yeah, they said over the past 6 years, the Academy has shown it can act decisively and move swiftly to meet the needs of our music community. The management and board are committed to working together to keep pace, with that progress and ensure the musicians we intend to honor feel truly seen and heard by our actions. BTS first announced the group would sit out this year's awards last month, sharing statements across the band members' individual social media accounts that reads, I hope that music can be heard and loved for what it is, rather than being divided by region or language. Thank you to Army and everyone who is always with us. And that's what it says. Like when we're making music, we're blending genres, we're taking influences from so many different places and creating our own little gumbo. And here y'all go wanting to categorize, oh, they Asian, we gotta create an Asian category because the Asians are popular right now. And it's like, we should be othering people. they want to be in the same category of like artist of the year, album of the year, record of the year. And I'm sure like they did say that you could still go for those categories, but we also want to celebrate because K-pop and J-pop and C-pop are becoming more and more popular. We want to celebrate that music as well. So we want to create a category to celebrate that. Well, I don't know what y'all should do, but that's what y'all got. Y'all get paid the big bucks to come up with that stuff. So now BTS decision reflected the mixed reactions the best Asian pop music performance category drew when the Grammys announced the new award back in June, with the critics questioning the rules around language requirement while also casting worry that the category would make it either easier not to consider Asian acts in the general categories. But like I said before, I guess it's saying like, well, if you do create this thing, then we won't be able to go for the bigger categories. But I thought they said that they would be able to go for those things. I mean, if they're not, then I totally agree with what BTS is doing. But if there's an opportunity for other, Asian artists to have their own category and get nominated in that situation, then do that. Maybe do best J-pop, best K-pop, best C-pop, or is it bad to segregate that into specific categories so that way everybody has a chance to, have their win? I don't know. I just think at this point, award shows are so damn outdated already. I just watch for the performances. That's all I care about is seeing the people who's performing. I don't be caring about all them who won what because a year from now I ain't gonna remember. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this thing regarding the Recording Academy saying that they're listening and they're willing to learn from their mistakes and they want to go back and forth and figure out what could they do to honor the Asian community in regards of getting love and support in the American Music Academy, like the Grammys. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oink. Do awards even mean anything to Madonna anymore? That's a good question. I'm sure she'll be appreciative if she wins, but at this point, it's like, do people even care about award shows anymore? That is a good question. Madonna made MTV what it is or was because MTV isn't the MTV. The day Tiara ended is when MTV died. Do you know what's slowly but surely been becoming the indicator of what good music is? Some people are not going to be happy with this, but it's my observation. Pitchfork, Fantano, rate your music. I guess, people be getting mad at Pitchfork when they be giving their little reviews. Weren't they the same ones that just read Chris Brown for his album? All right, y'all. So now let's get into this messy story. Let's take a travel back to the 90s with CNC Music Factory because it seems to be a trademark and fraud lawsuit going on between Robert Clivillés, who created CNC Music Factory with the late David Cole, and rapper Freedom Williams, who was on the song Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now. So it was a lot that was going on with this. And now that I have wound up getting more information, I can talk about it. So Robert Clivillés, the co-founder and sole living member of CNC Music Factory, has filed a $30 million lawsuit against frontman Freedom Williams. Now, back in the disco days, Robert Clivillés and David Cole were CNC Music Factory. They had a lot of big hits, more especially Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now, the most ubiquitous dance hit of all time. Martha Wash's vocals are still resounding through different galaxies, although there was some controversy regarding Wash, who filed a landmark lawsuit against CNC Music Factory producers, Robert Clivillés and David Cole, and Sony Music for fraud and commercial appropriation. It alleged producers used her uncredited vocals for Gonna Make You Sweat while using a model to lip sync on stage and in the music video. Clivillés and Cole had a partner, Freedom Williams, who pulled a bitch move by snatching a trademark and started performing all over the world at CNC Music Factory. Cole passed away in 1995. This past spring, Donald Trump's Freedom 250 committee announced that CNC Music Factory would perform at his Great American Stakeout on the Mall in D.C. Of course, the event was canceled, but not before Clivillés denounced it and explained he and Williams were at each other's throats. The core issues of the lawsuit were unrelated to what happened with the Trump-related concert pullouts and cancellation, but Clivillés made it clear in his lawsuit that a contentious, profanity-filled video Williams published on social media in the midst of the controversy was the last straw when it came to pushing him to file suit over rips that go back 3 decades or more. And then he also went and posted something, Robert, on his page and said, attention, anyone attending Beatstock, which, is a very popular festival that they do at Jones Beach where they have a lot of the 90s and like a lot of the freestyle artists, like if you ever listen to KTU in New York City where they played a lot of freestyle and dance music and stuff, a lot of those artists go out there for Beatstock and they perform. So they'll have like Coro and Giggles and Lisette Melendez and Lisa and all of them. And they go out there and performing and they got Freedom Williams. And yeah, he's running under the whole CNC Music Factory because he was able to get that trademark. So he's been performing under them and making money. And they even have 2 separate Instagrams with CNC Music Factory. And yeah, so we said anyone attending Beatstock today, and that was like Sunday, I believe. Please film Freedom Williams' show introduction and his full show for me. Feel free to send me the video right from your iPhone, Robert Clivillés. And then there was another video where they said CNC Music Factory creator and only surviving official member sues Freedom Williams. And that happened on August 14th, where he filed the suit. Now, Clivillés is acting as his own attorney in the suit, which was filed on August 14th in the Eastern District of New York in United States District Court. He charges Williams with defamation, fraud, trademark infringement, why are we putting fraud twice? It said fraud, trademark infringement, unfair competition, and breach of contract, and asked for cancellation of the trademark Williams now holds, as well as compensatory and punitive damages, adding up to $30 million. Clivillés has been warning of his intention to sue Williams for weeks. On Sunday, he posted on social media a video filmed by the process server delivering papers to a figure identified as Williams, who initially keeps walking down the sidewalk as the server drops the paperwork on the ground. First of all, I have that clip. Hold on. Now, I come with receipts, child. I had to wait for it to open. Okay, so I got the clip. We're going to play that clip. Hold on one second. And we are going back. We're going to talk.
Yeah. Is this Freedom Williams? Does he live here?
Who?
Freedom Williams.
Freedom Williams.
What's the number here?
473.
All right. So this is federal summons and complaint. But I'm gonna leave it right here.
Ask him with the overalls.
Then this is all I legally have to do.
Okay, that's
all right. So you have a good one.
I was like, yeah, that's New York. I was like, why that concrete look familiar? It's giving New York.
Yeah, man. So
like, you better
that
that damn.
So you can fight us or whatever.
So you better
have a good
that damn summons. You got served, sir.
And that's how you put someone with $30 million lawsuit.
Yeah, so it was hard to hear, but yeah, I had to listen to it about 4 or 5 times before I heard them say that it was a $30 million lawsuit. And upon when I started doing more research, I was correct in regards to that. It was a $30 million lawsuit. So anyway, to get back into the rest of this story, they said, hold on, where am I? Okay. So they said that Clivillés had been warning of his intention to sue Williams for weeks. On Sunday, he posted on social media a video filmed by, I read the process server thing. The recent video posted by Williams amid the Trump Freedom 250 controversy comes up for description. On May 29, 2026, the suit says Williams posted a 7-minute video to the official CNC Music Factory account, which he controls, though his fraudulent trademark claim filmed while sitting on a toilet. Oh yeah, I remember that was a mess. In the video, Williams made statements invoking Adolf Hitler, used repeated racial slurs, yeah he did, and directed vulgar and sexually degrading language at members of the public. Plaintiff Clivillés had no warning of and no input into the statements and was forced to launch a competing official CNC Music Factory Instagram account to publicly disavow Williams's conduct. Clivillés writes that he issued a public legal warning at the time for Williams to stop representing himself with the group name, but rather than back off, Williams allegedly doubled down on June 12th by issuing a new single, Into the Future, under the CNC Music Factory name. Variety, and this was from Variety, by the way, because I was like, I wound up having to go to different places to get that tea. Now, throughout the suit, Clivillés made a point in the suit of reaffirming that the letters F and W do not appear in CNC. Funny. Freedom and Williams do not appear in CNC, which is Clivillés and Cole. And that he and the late David Cole, who died in 95, as I stated earlier, were the sole members of the outfit, which broke through the 90s with number one smash, Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now, succeeded the following year by the top 10 hits, Here We Go, Let's Rock and Roll, and Things to Make You Go, Now, Williams was listed as a featured artist on all three of those singles, alongside vocalist Martha Wash and Zelma Davis. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Zelma Davis, who also got featured credit. It is Clivillés' contention to give Williams and the others featured billing was a way of making them marking them as guests, as opposed to group members, as is common in pop music. When Clivillés and Cole were primarily producer-writers, he makes the case that they were not, unlike famous producers like Quincy Jones, who issued albums under their own name while bringing in different singers. In Clivillés' telling, Williams had a production contract with him and Cole, but in mid-1991, around the time Things to Make You Go, was released, Williams demanded his release from the 1990 agreement, stating he did not want to be associated with CNC Music Factory or with Clivillés and Cole's enterprises going forward. He immediately stopped touring with the group. Sony Music negotiated his release and signed into a full-length multi-album solo deal. Williams' first and only, because it flopped, it was that his only solo album fared poorly commercially. CNC Music Factory continued without Williams. Clivillés and Cole released 2 more albums and several singles before Cole died in January of 1995. The suit alleges that beginning in 96 and continuing to the present, Williams had been performing without authorization under the CNC Music Factory name, obtaining fraudulent trademark registrations in a name that refers to 2 other people, collecting $5,000 to $10,000 per unauthorized show worldwide, and most recently releasing commercial recordings and expanding the unauthorized use of the brand to entirely new parties through defendant Big Mac Entertainment, LLC. The suit goes on to say that Clivillés and Cole's estate made a formal estate settlement agreement and gave Clivillés exclusive use of the CNC Music Factory name, but in 2005, it says Williams registered CNC Music Factory as a trademark, which was canceled in 2012. In 2024, he filed a new trademark application for CNC Music Factory, and as part of his application, Williams affirmed falsely and knowingly that he was the owner of the mark and that no other persons had the right to use it. Oh, this man is disgusting. Like, just thieving his way through, because he knew he wasn't shit without CNC Music Factory. You was on 3 of their songs and they were hits, and you thought you could just go off and be your own man by yourself, and nobody cared. But here's the thing. This has been happening for over 30 years. So why is Robert Clivillés objecting now? And according to the article, they said he did in 2016 file a petition to cancel Williams' registration. He says it failed to proceed because of a legal error made by his former lawyers, noting that the proceedings was dismissed with prejudice in June 25, 2018, solely due to plaintiff's prior counsel's failure to file a trial brief. No tribunal has ever adjudicated the substance of plaintiff's cancellation claims on the merits. Clivillés did not explain in the suit whether he took any further action after 2018 to try to stop Williams from using the name. Clivillés does say he was open to compromise. Now, when plaintiff first became aware that Williams was performing under the CNC name, plaintiffs asked Williams to build himself as Freedom Williams. Damn, that's going to be a mouthful. They wanted him to build himself as Freedom Williams, formerly of CNC Music Factory. Williams complied briefly before resuming his infringing conduct. Probably because I mean, like formally, like it's gonna be that'd be too much, and it might turn people off. So he knew, like, just saying CNC Music Factory. He come out and rap to them songs. People don't know all the legalities that's going on behind all that. All they know is when that don't. As soon as that beat kick in, everybody be like, "Come on, let's sweat, baby. Let the music take control. Let the rhythm rule you." Like the minute that kid on, like that's all people care about. They hit their dance. They don't be knowing all that all the other legal jargon that's going on, mumble jumble that's going on. Now, in late May, shortly after Mars Day, and Young MC gave public notice that I was like, "Damn, Mars Day still alive." And Young MC gave public notice that they were dropping out of the Trump-approved Freedom 250 concert series. Williams, who had booked the gig under the name CNC Music Factory, posted his angry, attention-getting video about his mixed feelings about whether to stay on the bill or not, indicating that he was leaning for, because, he'll do anything for a coin. It's like, you out here using that thing, defecating all over the CNC Music Factory name, man, like you aligning yourself with Trump. You already know how people feel that any artist that align themselves with Trump, they don't want no parts. Hence why TLC and them thought they ass was slick by doing that tour with Salt and Pepper in Vogue. And each one of them are going to take turns doing a little bit of songs, and they kind of come out and each will come out and do. So it was like, in Vogue not going to do a full show. And then, because at some shows, some artists, they only stay for their favorite artists, and then they leave. I've seen this happen where people stay for the opening act and left. They didn't want to see the main act. So by having them do all of that, then it's gonna be hard for y'all to want to leave during the TLC set, because the Invo gonna come out again right after TLC is done, and then Salt and Pepper. So they knew what they thought they was slick, and it worked, I guess. So now they said Williams said he was getting texts all day and was still catching up. N-words talking about yo free, you doing a Trump freedom show? I'm like, what are you talking about? Celebrity N-words is calling me up. N-words I've known for years who know I don't F with Trump. My agent called me about 3 months ago and said, yo, you want to do a show the 25th in Washington? He said today he went back to his agent and said, you didn't say nothing about Trump. You didn't mention Trump. So I told my agent, yeah, no, I ain't going to be able to do that. So it's like, yeah, you thought that you was gonna get me to go do something, and you knew if you mentioned Trump that I would say no. Because y'all gonna get y'all percentage. But then there was a twist in Williams' thinking as the 8-minute bathroom rant continued. He said, I don't give a F about Trump. I know the type of effing anarchy he creates, but the day I let you MFers tell me what to do is the day I die, because that was when, the ego started to kick in. I wanted to make that ish MFing crystal clear. Listen, I will vote for Genghis Khan. Are you okay? He's about Hitler and MF and Ivan the Terrible before I let you N-words tell me what to MF and do. Then at that point, then why don't you go perform for Trump? And then it gets even worse where he's talking about dicks and hands and all kinds. I was like, okay, girl, you're doing too much. So they did say Ticketmaster currently lists one remaining tour date this year for Williams' version of CNC Music Factory, and that's on October 17th in Atlantic City. So this will be interesting how to see how this all works out. But there are two different CNC Music Factory accounts on Instagram. So Williams is official CNC Music Factory, and Clivillés has CNC Music Factory. So y'all already know which one y'all need to be over there following. Um, so yeah, we'll just see how this all turns out, because Clivillés is actually representing himself in court, and we'll just have to see how this, because I guess he felt like his previous lawyers messed up the whole situation last. So he's like, I'll just represent myself, Chad. So yeah, that's the mess on this. I would definitely keep you guys abreast of this trademark fraud situation as it develops, but Freedom Williams, you a low down dirty dog if all this turns out to be true. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this messy, fraudulent situation, these legal allegations from CNC Music Factory? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Hassan Piker is taking Scott. We already heard about the whole Scott Jennings thing, where he definitely needs to go and take Scott Jennings to court, because that little video he made where he took his stuff out of context, absolutely deplorable. And misrepresentation of his character. So I'm like, yeah, that's a chop. And the thing that also, what was it? Oh yeah, when people continue to try to bring up, he said America deserved 9/11. That wasn't what he was saying. What he was saying was that if you're going to cause, if Americans are going to cause a genocide for people in Iraq and all the bombs and stuff that you dropping on people, you can't be surprised that people are going to that the chickens are going to come home to roost and they're going to take retaliation on us. That's basically what he was talking about. But of course, you know, people want to if they turn something into a little soundbite, it gets people riled up. As someone who had to live through 9/11, I think I can speak on this. And remember where the fuck I was when it happened. And you said replacement. Yeah, he's trying to place. I was like, he'd be perfect because he stays licking Trump's shitty tape. So he'd be perfect to go work for him. Let's remind people CNC wanted Martha Wash in that video, which caused a lawsuit, all because Freedom didn't want a fat woman near him. En Vogue was supposed to be the opening act. I feel bad because this was supposed to be TLC's farewell tour because of T-Bar. Oh, yeah, they was going on T-Bar. Some people saying she was lip syncing. She was like, no, I'm not. She said in the comments, but I'm like, if she is lip syncing, who cares? Y'all getting them up there doing the creep dance. Is MSG in your city doing anything for the 25th? We actually are. I'm glad you brought that up. We are doing something for 9/11. I don't remember what day it is. It might be the 12th or the 10th. I can't remember. But there is an event that we're doing where we're having a bunch of comedians who are going to come in. I believe Pete Davidson put this together. Damn, now I got to look it up because you brought it up. Yes, it is called New York City is still rising after 25 years, a 9/11 charities comedy benefit. This is something I would definitely want to work. And it's September 10th, which is a Thursday, and it's it's early doors. So doors open at 5:30, which means 4:45 call time. I had to think about that for a second. So yeah, NYC still rising after 25 years of 9/11 charities comedy benefit featuring Aziz Ansari, Bill Burr, Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Ronnie Chang, Pete Davidson, Shane Gillis, Nikki Glazer, Josh Johnson, Cypher Sounds. Cypher Sounds gonna be there, and Jon Stewart plus special guests will come to the Garden on September 10th. So oh yeah, this is a device-free show. So if y'all think y'all gonna come in with your phones, thank God we got Yonder, because Yonder's gonna be a part of it. Y'all gotta lock up your phones, and you just gotta come in there and just enjoy the show. So this was like a really awesome thing. This was definitely something I would love to be a part of. But I think I'm about to get my schedule for September this week. I'm shooting for Friday that we should be getting it. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I was like, I'm glad you asked. I was like, wait, what happened? That video came from Ethan Decline, which is what we've been telling him, take Ethan to court as well, because that Nuke Fest was all out of context clips. September 11th would also be my your side reel birthday. What is that? All right, y'all. So now let's get into some more legal news. And let's talk about Stephanie Joanne Germanata, known to y'all as Lady Gaga. So Lady Gaga has been caught up in this lawsuit where she was being sued for, I believe, $100 million from this surfboard brand. They're called Mayhem surfboards. Surfboard. Oh damn it! I totally forgot to bring up the damn other picture. I knew it was something I forgot. Hold on, because I want y'all to see what it looked like. But I could do a little fast situation where I could just hold on. Okay, that works. So Let's get to the tea. So, Lost Surfboards sued the star last year, claiming people who saw her album name would think it was somehow connected to the surf company. That was a reach because one, I don't surf, and number two, I would have never guessed that it was y'all. But in a decision on Tuesday, August 18th, first reported by Billboard, Judge Fernando M. Alguin. Why does the name sound familiar? Like he did another celebrity case. Ruled that the case was clearly too weak to move ahead because it's a reach. The ruling turned on the First Amendment, which allows creators of books, movies, and songs to freely use trademarks unless they're intentionally designed to dupe consumers. In his decision, the judge said Lady Gaga's album name was nothing of the sort, saying, quote, these allegations are conclusory and insufficient to constitute an explicit indication, overt claim, or explicit misstatement identifying Lost as the source of Lady Gaga's artwork, the judge wrote in the decision obtained by Billboard. The use of a mark alone is not enough, and nothing in the lawsuit suggests or otherwise indicates an affirmative misrepresentation of or in connection with the source or the content of Lady Gaga's work. So yeah, I want to show y'all this situation if y'all agree and feel like it is a copy. Well, I did put the Mayhem thing in there, but this was from I saw this over on TMZ, so I had to bring it in here and show y'all these are the two different ones. Hold on. I was like, yeah, so y'all can see it better. So yeah, the one on the left obviously is Lady Gaga, and the one on the right is the surfboard company, Lost Clothing. When you look at it, I don't think anybody's gonna think that it's similar. Anyway, so Lost sued Gaga, Stephanie Germanotta, last year, calling her choice of album name a blatant disregard of the company's trademark rights to its Mayhem brand, which it has sold since the 1980s. It argued the name was not only confusing, but that it appeared on the album and merch in a stylized red logo that was highly similar to the one of their surfboards, saying Lady Gaga has unilaterally and without Lost's permission or knowledge attempted to misappropriate the Mayhem name. But for decades, U.S. courts have made it very difficult to sue over the use of trademarks in expressive works like books, movies, and songs, ruling that the First Amendment right to free speech generally trumps the rights of a brand over to police how their name is used. Now, starting with the case involving Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, longstanding precedent says a trademark owner can only sue if the use of the name and completely irrelevant to a creative work or was explicitly misleading, a tough standard to meet. And a famous example, a federal appeals court in 2002 dismissed Barbie maker Mattel's lawsuit over Aqua's smash hit Barbie Girl on those grounds. Because I'm like, they weren't doing anything to be malicious. I mean, Barbie is kind of a bimbo girl in the fantasy world. You could brush her hair. What's the rest of the lyrics? Oh, well, they did say undress me everywhere, anywhere, and I'm like, yeah, I did kind of undress my sister's Barbie dolls when I was a kid, so it was it wasn't being like mean spirited or whatever the case. The song was very much on point with what was going on, but anyway, so Gaga quickly argued that the Mayhem case also failed under what that so-called Rogers test. In a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, her lawyers called it a transparent attempt to extract leverage and publicity for the expressive use of a common dictionary word by one of the world's most recognizable artists. They said that even after months of record sales and touring, Lost could not identify a single confused consumer who thought Mayhem was linked to Lost. And that's what I was saying. First of all, I mean, we can call out Lady Gaga on many of things, especially when it comes to thievery and things of that nature, what some people say about the music and some people's looks and things. But when it comes to this, I'm thinking this is a reach. I'm thinking that this Lost Surfboard was literally looking at Gaga being one of the biggest pop stars on the planet and seeing this as an opportunity. Oh, Mayhem, it looks similar to ours, even though it kind of doesn't. It's like, yeah, the M was a lot fatter. It looks like a bat. It looks way more gothic. Whereas the Mayhem on the lower side, that looked like something that you could tattoo on your arm. And to me, Mayhem is just a normal word in the dictionary. And it was supposed to represent what the album was. Now, did the music execute what the mayhem and the industrialness of the album? No. I felt like it was a lady that does Broadway show tunes trying to do goth. That's what it was giving me with that record. Yeah, we had Abracadabra, that was a cute song. I love Smash Into You. Die With a Smile, y'all know, was thrown on there because it was the big hit to come off the album. She really didn't. I feel like Lady Gaga focused more on the tour than the album anyway. Like I don't feel like she pushed the album as hard as she could have, because Die With a Smile became like this accidental hit, so she focused on that and tacked it on the album. And then when the Dead Dance became part of Wednesday, she focused on that and was trying to perform it on the tour, and she performed at the VMAs and was pushing for that whole situation. Oh my God, I was just thinking about it. It was a year ago when all of this went down, and Lady Gaga performed at the VMAs, and that was the day that we was actually waiting for her to show up at Madison Square Garden so she could perform her show. So I feel like this is a reach, and I feel like these people are trying to use her as a way to bring promotion to their stuff. And hopefully it works. But yeah, it's like the Lady Gaga fans ain't thinking about that. They ain't looking at this like, oh, so you trying to copy off of a surfboard? Come on, like, please. Her fans don't surf. So they said the decision echoed an earlier ruling in December in which Judge O'Quinn refused to issue laws an injunction barring Gaga from continuing to use the Mayhem name while the case played out in court. So they said that laws can appeal the ruling to a federal appeals court. And so we'll see if that's the direction that they decide to take with this situation. But until then, it looks like Gaga done won her case until laws decides that they want to take it federal. And we'll see if they are able to get what they want out of the deal and if they decide to take it there. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Lady Gaga defeating this lawsuit that basically from this surfboard company that said that her using the Mayhem name and the whole overall look was infringing on their brand? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Side reel is the Vedic astrology. I just knew you was gonna pop out of somewhere with an answer. Andy Bashar of Kentucky calls for the end of the electoral. I think you mean the electoral college. Only conservative support an electoral college because the coastal parts. Well, we'll see if it happens. The Singaporean hoe is releasing a video about the defendant and art pop soon. Wait, what is that? They said the defendant and how to revive your career. Well, who's trying to revive their career? You're trying to say Lady Gaga revived her career? For speaking of which, there was a video that I saw earlier on the E2. Where is it? I don't even remember, Jill. Oh, it was overhated pop albums from Honest. And they had I think they put Lady Gaga's art pop up in there. I was like, all right, daughter. I mean, if you say so, but that album is overhated. We'll let you hear that one. Gaga's Mayhem font is also inspired by the text stylings of black metal logos. The surfer logo looks like a Thrasher ripoff. The skater in me is coming. So he's sitting out here trying to call Gaga is ripping off, but I'm like, Chad, you did a ripoff of someone else's work. He's releasing a video essay about how Gaga's foray into acting saved. Did it though? I mean, I don't know. I mean, Foley Doodle flopped. House of Gucci flopped. Yeah, she had a cameo in Devil Wears Prada too. But it saved her. How did acting save her career? Okay, I guess I'm going to have to watch it. All right, y'all. So now we down to our final four topics. So before we get to our final four, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit the hype channel, the hype button, smash, do all the things that help this show get out there in a good old algorithm. I would gladly appreciate it. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into some more legal news. Excuse me. And let's talk about Ellie Goulding, who is suing her ex-management company because they failed to mention that her management company was connected to Live Nation. So she taking their ass to court. This story came out actually a couple of days ago, and I'm just now getting around to it. So between 2018 and 2025, Goulding was a client at TAP Management, a firm founded in 2010 by Benedict Mawson and Edward Millett. As Goulding's lawsuit notes, Live Nation purchased a 50.1% stake in TAP Management via its own parent company, HNOE, in 2015, then bought the rest of the company in 2019. Here we go with, them and their monopolizing of companies. Live Nation is what I'm talking about. Goulding alleges that her management team never disclosed Live Nation's ownership stake in TAP, and while she was a TAP client, she claims her team regularly pushed her to deal with Live Nation and its subsidiaries for various things, such as concert promotion, merchandise, and a documentary. Goulding claims that Mawson, Millett, and HNOE, all defendants in the suit, had financial and commercial interests in ensuring she did business with Live Nation. Live Nation is not a defendant. Mawson, Millett, and TAP did not immediately return requests for comment. A rep for Goulding declined to comment. The suit calls this a breach of their duty to her as their management client to find her the best overall deal. Now, each of the defendants had personal interest or duty in dealings between Ms. Goulding and companies in the Live Nation group, which was in actual or potential conflict with the interests of Ms. Goulding in securing the best commercial terms with whichever promoter, merchandiser, or other counterparty it was most advantageous, for her to deal with. The suit states Goulding is seeking unspecified compensation and damages as well as additional relief. Now, Goulding signed with TAP in 2018, joined a top-tier roster that at the time, including Lana Del Rey and Dula Peep. Dula Peep, I should point out, has left the firm, and that's what people saying. Yeah, she saw the writing on the wall. She knew what they was up to, and she was like, "Ooh, I'm out." And Ellie saying she had no idea, and they were not forthcoming about what it was that they were doing. Now, at the time, Goulding was coming off her 2015 album Delirium, which peaked at number 3 in the UK and US album charts and featured the hit single On My Mind. The musician remained with TAP through the release of her next albums, 2020's Bright as Blue and 2023's Higher Than Heaven. Why do I feel like, excuse me, Ellie Goulding's been around longer than 2018? I don't know why, but I feel like she's always been around a little long. Maybe it's because when you hear so much music, you always think people are around longer than they have been. The musician remained with TAP through the release of her next albums, as I said, 2020's Bright as Blue and 2023's Higher Than Heaven. She is currently gearing up for the release of her 6th album, I Know Too Much, which is set to arrive on September 4th. Beyonce birthday. Now, back in January, the British tabloid The Sun reported that Goulding and TAP had parted ways, with anonymous sources for both parties suggesting they left the other. One source said Ellie left the arrangement with TAP in December of 2025. As she moves into the new year with a strong sense of clarity, she is focused on family first, with her 2nd child due in goddamn, this lady stayed pregnant in just a few weeks. Ellie is an artist who is a proven hit machine and is one of the most important and unique voices that has come out of the UK. She deserves to be treated like the global superstar that she is. Meanwhile, a source described as close to TAP said, TAP resigned from working with Ellie on December 9th. They are proud of all that they have achieved together, and after 8 years felt it was in both sides' interest to part company. Well, we'll just have to. I mean, I don't feel like I have anything else to add to this, but it's crazy how it's like, yeah, if you're supposed to be my management companies, if I'm your client and yeah, you get paid a percentage of when I'm working, you're supposed to be looking out for me as the artist. And with Live Nation being like all these other oligarchs monopolizing everything, now that means she got caught up in some sort of a 360 deal or something that she didn't want to be a part of, because them 360 deals are the devil. So I guess I'm just gonna have to keep abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this story surrounding Ellie Goulding suing her ex-management company because they weren't forthcoming with her over their ties to Live Nation and how she got wrapped up in all of it? Because it's like, wait a minute, if I'm not signing Live Nation, didn't Megan Thee Stallion just sign a deal to do something with Live Nation or something or another? If I didn't sign a deal specifically with Live Nation, they shouldn't be swallowing up a thing, and now I'm having to do dealings with them. Especially if I'm not even supposed to be doing dealings with them. It's just you now caught up in the situation because they bought up the company. So now I'm stuck in the middle. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Excuse me. Now, why you gotta clock me? Because you do be popping up out of nowhere. I watched that video. Honest just says anything bionic American Life as sucker are rightfully disliked as he defends them like they're misunderstood opuses. He also put Animal by Kesha on the Animal should not be on that list. First of all, Animal and Cannibal, those are my albums. Remember when they merged them together, Animal and Cannibal? I don't know why they did. He just be trying to make stuff up. The quiet as is kept. I thought Honest was a robot. I was like, is this AI? Because he started sounding like, I said, oh, now you starting to add a little more personality to that voice. You don't sound as robotic anymore. I'm not even subscribed to Honest anymore. The Swiftologist stole his gig. He has been around long. And I think if I'm not, okay, is Honest black? Because he definitely sound black when he talk. She has been around longer since 2018. So why they mention in 2018 the Mariah, not the Mariah Carey dance pop? Wait, is that a bad thing? That should be a good thing. I like Ellie Goulding. I'll listen to her new album when it comes out. Excuse me. All right, so now let's go from Ellie Goulding and we got more legal stuff. And let's talk about FKA Twigs because FKA Twigs is caught up in another lawsuit. So a lot of trademark lawsuits today. So yeah, FKA Twigs the latest to get caught up in a lawsuit regarding trademark because there's this group of twin sisters known as the Twigs. And now they're running around here saying like, oh, FKA Twigs, that people can't tell us apart. Girl, I ain't never heard of no damn Twigs. I mean, the only twigs I heard of was the ones that you snap on a tree branch. But other than that, no. So the Tuesday, August 18th ruling, first obtained and reported by Billboard, dismisses infringement claims lodged in May by the Twigs, twin sisters Laura Good and Linda Good, against FKA Twigs, Talia Bennett, but that's a real name. The case is not over yet, since the eusexual artist still has pending claims of her own against the sisters. The Twigs first sued FKA Twigs back in 2014 for infringing the trademark they owned since 1996, though they dropped that lawsuit after losing an initial injunction request. Things went quiet until a decade later when the sisters again began arguing that FKA Twigs had used her greater name to weaken, if not destroy, their own intellectual property. On Thursday, U.S. District Judge Jed S. Rakoff ruled that the Twigs infringement claim are time barred. Technically speaking, the judge held that the claims are too old under the doctrine of latches, which prohibits the unreasonable delay of legal action, saying the Goods are aware that Barnett allegedly infringing activity as early as 2013 when the parties exchanged emails, and certainly no later than 2014 when the Goods sued Barnett alleging trademark infringement. This is what the judge wrote. After the Goods dismissed their suit, Barnett continued releasing music under the name FKA Twigs. Yet the Goods did not take any action until 2024 and did not bring the instant claims until 2026. In other words, the Goods let their claims lie fallow for at least a decade. In trademark lawsuits, the laches doctrine does not apply to situations of intentional infringement, because I don't think it was intentional that FKA Twigs decided to take that and make it her name. She just I thought maybe she just came up with a cool name. The Twigs argued that their case fell under the exception, but Judge Rakoff flatly disagreed. The pleadings do not remotely support the inference that Barnett intended to promote confusion between herself and the goods. The upshot of Tuesday's ruling is that FKA Twigs cannot be sued for infringing the trademark, the Twigs. A dispute remains, however, over the singer's separate application for her own trademark, FKA Twigs. The Atlantic Records artist has pending legal claims that seek to stop the Twigs from interfering in her trademark registration process. Judge Rakoff said evidence discovery must be conducted before he can make a ruling one way or the other on that issue. Now, lawyers for FKA Twigs and the Twigs are not merely respond to requests for comment, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So, there you have it. So it's like, yeah, she won her little first round of the situation. She defeated the trademark lawsuit. But now it's at a point that she has her own pending legal claims against trying to trade, interfere from the Twigs interfering in her trademarking FKA Twigs. Because when you are artists, you want to be able to trademark your name so that way you can profit from it, or other people ain't gonna be able to profit off of your name. So it's always crazy when names are similar, and it's like it just becomes more and more difficult because everybody's out here trying to trademark every damn thing all of a sudden. It's just annoying. So I'll definitely keep abreast of this legality mess as it develops. But in the meantime, I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story surrounding FKA Twigs and the Twigs? I never heard of the Twigs, just like I ain't hear about that damn Mayhem surfboard, lost surfboard shit with the Mayhem on there. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. It's an honest is black. I remember he posted being from Oh, okay. I said he definitely sounds black when he talk. I know it's like that sounds a little ratchet. I'm like, it ain't like he's it's just certain ways that people sound is like, yeah, you black. Also, I was thinking the same thing about Critical Overlord because you never seen his face. I'm like, he sound black too. It's like you can tell some of your people when they you can also tell Honest isn't up too late with music term. Why is he still describing any expert? That's I'm glad you said it because there was something that somebody said on the thing where they were saying like he was. Oh, what was it? Now, child, I'm gonna have to spill the tea. What was in that group chat? Hold on. What was it? Key Mac went on saying something. It was something about the whole hyper, like equating. What's her name? Was equating what's her name was doing with hyperpop. The oh my god, why can't I think? The Lady Gaga album that he was in my art pop. I was like, no. Yeah, I sounded very Scooby Dooish because it was like I'm still struggling to see how it was ahead of. Oh, that's what he was saying. Um, that's about the thing video. He said art pop was the first pick. I'm still struggling to see how it was ahead of its time. And I said art pop was not ahead of its time. It was her most pretentious of albums and lacked cohesion. And then there's talking about they said it revolutionized the hyperpop sound currently happening right now. And I said I don't know if I agree with that. And it says, same here. I don't know. I'm just struggling to see the appeal of that album, even a whole decade later. And so it's like, no, that didn't revolutionize the hyperpop movement. I'm like, if anybody did the hyperpop movement, that was Charlie with Sophie and A.G. Cook and that whole vibe. It wasn't Lady Gaga. That album, I don't get any hyperpop from that record. If anything, I get more hyperpop from Bitch, I'm Madonna over anything from Art Pop. That's still no excuse. For you, Chris, one way or another, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. You said, well, oh. He said, Honest was born in the late 90s, watches oldest videos from 2018, 19, and that had to be a teenager. It's always funny when these kids who really don't understand like the history of music be out here just making all these damn think pieces. Most of us millennials left X because we hate Elon Musk. It irks me when people still describe anything weird in pop music as hyperpop. Slater's Worst Girl in America. No, it's not hyperpop. I mean, there's elements I would say of like That and then, but if it's anything, there's more rock elements of her record when you hear the live instrumentation, the guitars. Who described Worst Girl in America as hyperpop? Well, maybe that's a good thing because I'm tired of seeing all these tabloid stories about Meghan Markle. Every time I see it, I just delete it. I'm like, I don't care. I like Patty Pop Culture over Swiftologist. She sounds familiar. Hmm. Yeah, who that is? Anyway, let's get back into the show because I'm yawning. It's about to be 10 o'clock soon. I know we did a late show, but yeah. And let's get into this last and final lawsuit. Let's talk about ABC filing a lawsuit against the FCC. So you already know there's been some mess going on with the FCC trying to come after ABC, specifically anybody that talks negatively about that weak ass fat fuck in the White House, Donald Trump. So um Disney's ABC filed a First Amendment lawsuit against the Federal Communications Commission on Tuesday, raising the pitch for the company's efforts to countermand unusual pressure from the Trump administration, well, regime, that's what we should call them, to force the company's stations to submit licenses for early renewal proceedings. ABC has found itself at a cross purposes with the FCC at several moments in recent months, with the Trump administration taking issue with monologues from late night host Jimmy Kimmel and commentary on the daytime roundtable program, The View. Oh, that's not all, because I don't know if y'all been watching Rosie O'Donnell make her late night debut this week over on Jimmy Kimmel, but she went in, first of all, I live for her suit, that little pink suit she had on, and she went and did a whole, thing on Donald Trump. And y'all already know that they were going to do that because Donald Trump and her have history. So she's always going to go in and let have on Donald Trump because, she, I guess, wants to get him riled up. There was something I wanted to look for to read for y'all, but hold on. Oh wait, I'm like, did I find it? She found it. I'll get to her in a minute. But anyway, so let's get back into this situation. So in his filing with U.S. District Court and District of Columbia, ABC's lawyer said the company was being punished for editorial decisions and news coverage and had no alternative means to eliminate these ongoing and immediate threats other than total capitulation to the administration's demands. The company also said the Trump regime, I'm changing that word because they keep putting administration in here. They're not administration, they're a damn regime had attacked ABC's speech on multiple occasions, including the stories of journalists report and the viewpoints its network's programs air. Over time, those attacks have escalated into express demands that ABC be stripped of its broadcast licenses because of its speech. You know what? I'm actually glad that ABC finally found its balls and decided to go after the FCC and Donald Trump and all that mess, because here's the thing. When George Stephanopoulos went and did that interview with Donald Trump and everything, y'all went and gave him $15 million when y'all were correct on the interview, on what y'all did. But because y'all didn't want to deal with the ramifications and him having his little temper tantrums or whatever, oh, let's just pay him and he'll go away. No, you don't negotiate with terrorists. And I'm just saying that to be facetious. But, it's like, yeah, you don't negotiate with a bully. You don't bow down to a bully. You don't be like, oh, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. Here's $15 million. It's like, no, don't bow to him. He's a little bitch at the end of the day. All he does is sit and call people names and bully. Now, Disney's apparent appointed CEO, Josh D'Amaro, who, took over for Bob Iger, signaled earlier that the company was prepared to battle the government. We're very principled on this. We're going to stand up to what we believe is journalistic integrity. This is what D'Amaro said during a recent interview with CNBC. And we're not going to be told how to run this side of the business. Disney has, for the past several weeks, grappled with unorthodox pressure from the Trump regime. The FCC, led by Chairman Brendan Carrier, that asshole, offered Disney to file for renewals for ABC's 8 owned and operated stations years ahead of schedule. Now, in filings, Disney had said its applications were made under protest in response to an unlawful, arbitrary, and unconstitutional order. The View, which has thrived in recent years with discussion on politics, has also found itself in the administration's crosshairs. The FCC has probed whether the program has violated so-called equal time election laws following the appearance of political figures, launching its investigation after James Tallarico, the Democratic Senate candidate from Texas, appeared on the show. In February, the FCC issued new guidance in January that late night and daytime hosts need to give equal time to political candidates from various parties, claiming the programs might be working along partisan lines. Well, look, the other side needs to do it too. And here's the thing, I don't think that there's ever been an issue where that is not something that ABC has done, which is, oh, we only want Democratic politicians on our show. They do invite Republicans on. In the past, they were always inviting Republicans on, and they've had Republicans on the show. I mean, how many times have they had Marjorie Taylor Greene on the last season? So, for them to sit up here and try to act like that ABC doesn't give equal time to other politicians, it's bullshit. And the fact of the matter is, these people have to be willing to come onto these channels too and not think that, okay, if you go on the opposing channel side, that, oh, you're not being fair, you're being biased, all these other things. It's like, well, stop lying to the American people. Get up there and be honest about what it is that's going on when you're talking about what's going on in the world of politics. Stop trying to kowtow to Donald Trump. Because the reality is, a lot of people sit up on TV full face lying about how amazing Trump is and everything, but behind the scenes, they all hate his guts. And I was hearing a story that a lot of people, reason why a lot of people are resigning because the man's gotten meaner. That sundown is really getting to that brain of his. So ABC also suggested in its filing that the company now has to weigh whether its business decisions would cause harm due to the situation with the stations, saying with the threat of non-renewal and revocation of its station's broadcast licensing on the line, ABC cannot ignore the consequences of any decision that might anger the administration or the FCC chairman. On July 16th, for example, ABC decided to live stream an address from that acting moron in chief, which it did not present live on ABC after using editorial judgment. Well, because why are we giving airtime to someone who's going to bold-faced lie about what they're doing in the United States or around the world? I'm not giving airtime to a liar or someone that we literally have to fact check in real time, because every other word that comes out of this man's mouth is a lie. Now, Anna Gomez, the lone Democratic commissioner serving at the FCC, applauded Disney's effort in a statement, saying, I have long called on companies to push back against this kind of government intimidation, and I'm glad Disney has shown courage and stepped up. This should be a welcome sign for every broadcaster who has felt the weight of this overreaching government pressure in silence. She said, adding that she was hopeful that ABC's suit would mark the beginning of the end of the administration's disregard for the Constitution and the law. Oh, please, they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't care about this country, and they disregard the law. So why would y'all expect them to actually go in and follow our Constitution and the law? And I'm glad that I echo what she says, what Anna Gomez said, which is, I'm glad that Disney has finally found the balls to stand up against them. And I hope other conglomerates do as well. Y'all lying down and being like, I don't want to deal with the BS. I don't want to deal with the drama. I would just pay these people. No, they don't need no more money. They're already pillaging our country of its resources and stealing money from Argentina and their oil and all this stuff. Like, they're doing enough criminal activity where they should be in jail, put under the jail for the rest of their lives. So we don't need to be adding to their pot of gold or financial pot, whatever it is you want to call it. So Yeah, and it's about time for someone to take Carr and his FCC to court over their endless campaign of intimidation and retaliation against journalism that displeases Carr's thin-skinned boss, said Seth Stern, the foundation's chief of advocacy. No matter what pretext he asserts, Carr's modus operandi is clear: to serve as Trump's censorship czar and abuse his office to repeatedly and exclusively target Trump's perceived adversaries in the media, whether through sham proceedings or threatening letters and Twitter posts. Carr knows that FCC is not the journalism police and said so regularly himself before he decided to throw away any integrity he once had to kiss up to Trump. Countless other whose First Amendment rights have been chilled by Carr's antics should follow Disney's lead. And you already know what they say, and one lead and the rest shall follow. So hopefully this opens a Pandora's box when people feel like, you know what? We're not going to no longer let the bully intimidate us. At some point, you have to stand up to your bullies and be like, I ain't backing down. Now, if I lose this fight, oh well, but I'm going to go out swinging. And that's the way I think a lot of people need to look at this. Y'all can't be running around here thinking that everybody's got to run around, lie for you, and kiss your ass. That's not how the media works. We have to have, I guess, would we call it controlled opposition? We have to have an opposing view. There should always be opposing views, but if you're going to have the opposing view, you need to tell the truth on why you don't agree with the other side. That's not what the Republicans are doing. That's not what they're doing on Fox News. They just spread all kinds of lies, fear tactics, and propaganda, especially when it comes to a lot of our progressive politicians like Abdul Al-Sayed, Zohran Mamdani, and so many others. And Hassan Piker, where they want to spread lies about him. And he having to file a lawsuit against that old smug closet case. What's his name? Scott Jennings, that queen. Anyway, so yeah, this is the latest on that. I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of that story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding ABC standing up against the FCC and the Trump regime for trying to intimidate them into silence? So that way they're like, well, if you start kissing our ass or whatever, we won't come for your slots for you to have your programming and all this. Look, this day and age, everybody's going to the internet. So if y'all lose out on spies, do the YouTube, do the internet, do all those things, figure out a way. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He's an Ariana stan and very more into the culture. He does red carpet. He said patty pop culture is a millennials type. Oh, you said 20 years ago, Rosie ripped Trump on The View. Oh, wait, I totally forgot to bring up the thing about Lady Bunny that I wanted to read y'all. So, yeah, she wound up saying something in the thing as well. It said Rosie's filling in for Jimmy Kimmel for 1 week. I didn't see the show, but people are sharing this clip as if it was some sort of triumph. You see neoliberal Dems like Rosie and Kimmel have one silly thing in mind: to make Trump squirm with their comedy. They aren't focused on getting their own party to adapt popular policies so that they might win, just Trump bashing. This strategy has failed centrists twice. Yet, I realize that Rosie has been feuding with Trump since before he was in politics, but this is Trump derangement syndrome at its finest. Trump will be mad if I'm hosting the show. That won't lower your gas, your grocery, your housing, or education costs, or addressing any issue Americans face. Yet many liberal Dems think they won some booby prize by joking about Trump, but the joke is on Democrats because they've lost 2 out of the last 3 elections of Trump. Well, you're talking about big potatoes. You're talking about big potato, small potato. Yeah, I'm having a Yelena moment. If you saw Spider-Man, Brand New Day, you know what I'm referencing. Here's the thing. Rosie O'Donnell's not a politician. And I think Rosie O'Donnell has a bigger axe to grind because she's been feuding with Trump since her days on The View, where she basically called him out for she said he ain't got as much money as he claims, threw the head to the side, was making fun of his little hairdo and all that other stuff. That pissed him off because a woman coming after him, oh, he hates that if a woman stands up to him because he hates women. But he tries to do his hair like how his mother used to do his hair, her hair. But when you're talking about, oh yeah, it's not gonna reduce the prices on gas and food and all this other stuff. That's not Rosie's job. Rosie is a comedian. She's not a politician. Maybe she talks politics and does talking politics and bring up politics in what it is that you like in conversation when you're doing interviews. Does that mean that you have that's the platform you should be using to endorse politicians? I mean, if I don't know, I mean, if Rosie has been out there being like, "Oh, I'm campaigning for," like in 2028, if she goes and starts campaigning for specific politicians, then I feel like okay, then maybe we could hold her feet to the fire. Well, you need to speak to so and so about. So, what are you doing about lowering the price of gas and universal health care and all the other things that people want? That I feel like you're taking more political stance. If you're like, I'm endorsing this person, I'm going on a campaign trail, I'm knocking on doors, I'm helping, if that's a role you're going to take, then that I understand. But me standing up there reading from a teleprompter some jokes while I'm going on Trump, I just think that is a little bit unfair to kind of put all that on a celebrity. Well, you making these jokes that is not going to bring your price of gas and I mean the price of gas and groceries and all that stuff down. I don't know if that's the same thing. Anyway, who said notice the lawsuits happen when CEOs change because would Bob Iger that's what I was wondering too. I was like, would Bob Iger had pushed forward with this? I mean, look, Bob Iger just bought the Lakers with Jared Kushner's brother. Do with that as you will, which is weird because Bob Iger and Trump don't like each other. So where they do that at? People are describing Worst Girl in America as indie sleep. Well, I feel like I don't get hyperpop from her. I get Electro Clash. That's kind of like the vibe because the Electro Clash is like my era. That's like, you know, Peaches and all of them. Mount Sims and Amanda Lepore when she was doing music, and Caswell and a lot of those artists, but they were doing more of like you were performing CBG, Fisher Spooner, like those were a lot of those type of groups that were doing that type of music. So, yeah, indie sleaze, kind of similar to that type of music. That I get more of that from that. Yeah, I don't get hyperpop. Hyperpop is just that Sophie type music. Basically the same umbrella term hyperpop was 6 years ago for anything edgy and pop. People don't understand genres and pop is me. Cause like yeah, it's definitely got that whole it gives very much. I don't know. Whenever I listen, it's like when I listen to Worst Girl America, it takes me back to CBGB, like that real New York funky situation. Not Lady Bunny. Fuck Lady Bunny. Lady Bunny, shut the fuck up. Rosie is not a politician. Should we be taking Lady Bunny seriously after her supporting shit? Child. And according to a friend of mine, she a racist allegedly. But you ain't hear that from me. 2020's electric class is quite literally indie sleep. That's what I said. It was a sleep. It's like the similar thing. A revival of what was popular in alternative music in the 2000s. Trends like this make me wonder what will be revived next. Well, look, didn't she kind of mention the whole Tumblr thing? Like that was her inspiration. I feel like Slater mentioned that when she was putting Worst Girl in America there. She was like, yeah, doing the whole Tumblr thing and that might be the next direction. There's elements of electroclash in music, fashion, film. Like the Angel said, it's a grown-up sucker. Detour and Brad would also be considered indie sleaze. Yeah, you hear a lot of it and definitely hear a lot of it in Detour. Child, do we need to bring Tumblr back? I don't think we need to bring Tumblr back. Quiet as it's kept, but everything is cyclical, apparently. Speaking of cyclical, let's get into this final topic and talk about this hot ass mess known as Kim Zolciak and her new boo. Apparently, Kroy is dating the ex of Kim Zolciak's current boyfriend, Kyle Mowitz. And Kim went in. I was like, you know what? Y'all are just a mess with this whole situation. But we like mess over here. So we are going to talk about said mess. Oh, so wait, hold on. I gotta close this last topic before we get to the new one. So Kim and her boyfriend Kyle Mowitz are reacting to their exes dating, and so Kim issued a savage response to her estranged husband Kroy Biermann, because they still married, making out with her boyfriend Kyle Mowitz's ex Jillian Green. She said, "I provided for Kroy for 10 years, so I'm sure he just wants another provider." Well, look, that was a read, and congratulations to you for coming up with said read. And she basically said, "I don't care, we don't care." Well, clearly you do because you had to say what you said. But here's the thing, sis. You sitting there talking about, "I provided for Kroy for 10 years." Yeah, you put up with it for a decade. So while it's a good read, you a sucker for going through it for that damn long. Because you was so happy you got your husband. You had him a football player with a big old ass. But you like to bring that up when you was on the Housewives. Trying to act like you was better than everybody on that damn show because you finally made it. And you elevated your wig game. So you was acting like your shit didn't stink. And now look at you. Now, as for she did mention that she was very worried about the little girls her partner shares with Green. Now, as for Mowitz, she told the outlet he doesn't believe the new couple has connected out of spite, which I was going to say that. I was like, yeah, this is an out of spite situation. Oh shit. There was something I was trying to look up because I could not remember their names. So you know what this reminds me of? Don't this remind you of TJ Holmes and Amy Robach? That's what this reminded me of. Because back when they was hunching, when they wasn't supposed to be, because they were supposed to be co-hosts, not getting behind the scenes doing the yum yum bouncy bouncy as a secret couple. I remember that after that whole situation, then Amy Robach's ex, Andrew Shue, wound up getting with TJ Holmes' ex. I don't remember her name, but they wound up getting together, which, because it was low down what TJ and Amy did, we felt for, well, Andrew Shue, I was a fan of his because, he was an actor and things. Wasn't he on Melrose Place? Anyway, I'm having a moment. We kind of felt for him because they want to, we thought they found love in a hopeless place because they exes cheated on each other. This definitely feels like Kroy said, you know what, let's get together and just piss these two off and let's do it out of spite. It's definitely giving that because y'all are just straight up Petty LaBelle. Everything y'all do is just like y'all are just grown ass people being fucking childish. That's what it's giving. So yeah, so Mowitz said he believes the couple connected out of spite. Biermann has not responded to page 6 in regards to any of this. Now, over the weekend, Biermann, who's 40, was spotted packing on the PDA with Green during a hike in Alpharetta, Georgia. The smooch came 3 months after the duo made headlines for another cozy outing. Now, when they stepped out in May, the pair did not lock lips, but did laugh and share an embrace. Well, now you got the cameras and stuff, so now you gotta, put on a show. Biermann and Green are also still navigating their respective divorces. Now, the latter claimed during a deposition that she and the retired NFL player were just friends, but Mowitz testified last month that he saw Biermann's car outside Green's home while his kids were present. And don't forget, we did hear the story that the kids was somebody, the father was having loud sex around them. I wonder it was with her. Mowitz then has allegedly been told by neighbors that the former athlete is frequently at the residence. Ooh, neighbors is nosy and they're going to tell him. And he asked the courts to ban Biermann from the house. He and Zolciak notably have been an item since late 2025. Now, before the couple got together, Zolciak was on and off with Biermann, whom she initially filed for divorce in 2023. The exes reunited multiple times, even calling off their contentious divorce months in, and Zolciak mused last year that their union may never legally end. Well, you know what? This is why I will never get married, child, because if this is what all this is going to entail and that this man won't let you get a divorce, your divorce situation is going to be worse than Jason Hoppy and Bethany Frankel. And so she said, there's no movement, no change, just constant antics. Co-parenting would just make our kids' lives so much happier, and I just keep continuing to pray for that. So, I don't know. Y'all both love the drama. This is messy. I guess it's good grist for our mill. But the only way, it is like the only thing I feel bad about at the end of all of this is these kids have to deal with this damn foolishness between y'all. So, good luck, Kim, and the rest of y'all. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story, this messy ass story with Kim, with the fact that now Kim got her new man, Kyle. I ain't heard no bad things about him. But now Kroy and Kyle's ex are messing around. It definitely is given like, okay, y'all doing this to just get under my skin and you're doing it for attention. But anyway, I want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. If Tumblr didn't do what they did to sex workers, I really feel Elon wouldn't have bought Twitter because everybody said how we got here traces back to Tumblr basically shutting down and their users to Twitter to basically force them to be their safe space. I totally forgot about Tumblr and the adult stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot about Shania Mutt Lange. Remember when Shania wound up getting married? I mean, Mutt Lange was cheating with her best friend, and Shania and the best friend's husband wound up getting together. Didn't I hear Shania and him got a divorce or something? Given that Kim's gambling debts caused Kroy and the family to lose their home to foreclosure, get your car repoed, and have credit card debt, she found it. Okay, so now you're talking about you taking care of this one and the other one, but I'm like, girl, you had your debts too, and you probably sucked up all of Kroy's money with your gambling debts, allegedly. You say, yes, I'm a replacement and the younger brother of Elizabeth Shue. I'm Andrew Shue. Cute sell. So many of these couples lately are breaking up. Then their exes get together. It's happening a lot. I don't know if it's really love, foolish spite, for show, or a combo of two or all three. Good question. But hold on, y'all, because I came across this thing that I was like, oh, maybe I should play this video because it was talking about relationships. That's, what was it that Robert sent? I was like, oh, I totally relate to this mess. Let me see if it's still in here. Oh yeah, it is. Hold on. I'm gonna play this because I was like, I relate wholeheartedly to this video. And then I'm gonna get up out of here. So hold on, let me play this clip and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk. Wait, it's not.
I do not want to be in a romantic. Buckle up, because this is why I do not want to be in a romantic relationship. I have been in almost every kind of relationship for about 15 years of my life. Monogamous, open, short-term, long-term, long distance, and I even dated a lot in between those. I've been engaged and I've been married, and I'm now divorced. All to cisgender men, by the way. In every single one of these relationships, I gave my all. My time, energy, money, resources, and all of the things that should make a relationship work. Before I met my ex-husband, I also had to change a lot of the fundamental things about myself and my desires in order to make these relationships work. I had to suppress my intimate desires. I had to suppress my sense of humor. And I had to give up things that I genuinely enjoyed. I was criticized for all of those things, and it genuinely made me question myself and sometimes made me think some things were wrong with me. My anxiety spiked all the time because I was more focused on keeping the peace rather than being truly happy in these relationships. And then I met my ex-husband, and in the beginning, he truly made me feel like he loved me for me. He allowed me to be myself, at least until we got married, and then things quickly fell apart. And he left me when I needed him most. It was the ultimate betrayal by someone that, in the beginning, really made me feel like he loved me for me. Now, I'm not saying I was perfect and that I made no mistakes in these relationships. I was absolutely not without my faults. The point is, I've experienced enough with romantic relationships to know that they are not for me. I'm not good at them. And no one person can satisfy all of my wants and desires. I've experienced enough to know that there is nothing about a romantic relationship that I find appealing. And it is important to note that in the 3 years since my husband left me, they have been the happiest, the most successful, and the most fulfilling years of my life. And I don't want to potentially ruin that with a relationship. I also refuse to compromise on anything, and I mean that. I'm done compromising on something that I do not feel is worthwhile for me. In conclusion, and I've said this many times, I can provide everything that I need. I am enjoying life on my own terms. I am happy, and I do not get lonely because I have people in my life that bring out the best in me. There is not a single fiber of my being that wants a romantic relationship. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and burned it.
Damn, you sound like me. There were so many songs I want to jump in and say with that he was saying, because it was like I was going to do Man I Need, Talk to Me. I got the man I need. But anyway, so I don't know. I was like, I agree with him on some of the stuff he was saying. It's like at the end of the day, when people end up disappointing you or people want you to change you for who you are, and I'm not willing to change or compromise who I am in so many ways. And I feel like I get so much other love from so many other people, particularly like friends. Like I feel like they satisfy a lot of the emotional aspect of what I need from people. And I don't understand like people getting in these monogamous relationships because I feel like one person cannot satisfy every aspect of who you are. And it's not about being greedy or whatever the case is, and you having to need so many things from other people. It's just the fact that one person cannot satisfy all of your emotional needs or any of your physical needs and those sort of things because then, they leave it up for judgment and ridicule, or people got their own insecurities or whatever. So I think a lot of people need to learn to individually love on themselves and come to terms with what they want. And when you have enough confidence within yourself, then you can go off and, get what little things you need to get out of other people. And I feel like maybe in metropolises, that makes it easier versus if you live in a rural area. Now, in a rural area, it might be hard for you to try to get that connection and stuff. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. So let me see what y'all saying, because it's like the conversations came up wholeheartedly in here. Well, that was the rainbow news. It was like, no, nothing and that's why I always hate sometimes, especially when we come in the homosexual news. Um, it is dry out here in these streets. There was nothing of interest worth talking about. So, yeah. Mm-mm. So that was the. Oh wait, there was something I saw over on. I think it might have been what's the gay magazine? I think it was something, but what is this boy always on social media just mimicking other people's songs? Anyway, let me see. Was it there? There was something that I think I had saw, and I probably totally forgot because I was rushing to put this damn show together. But oh yeah, there was a story that I had saw where they said, should companies be able to fire you for doing adult porn in the past? Oh, maybe we could do that one. That's some adult homosexual. Then we can get up out of here. But let me get through these comments and then I'll add that to the situation because I definitely want to hear, especially since we got Lanier up in here because he would be familiar with that. I ain't telling his business, chat. He already told y'all. Not Jason Hoppy and Bethany. She had to pay him out. I mean, you remember, right? I was like, that was a mess. Not when he was leaving logs on the toilet. The gays are in agreement since when the gays get. Well, that's uptight gays or hypocritical gays. Now all of a sudden they clutching their pearls. I'm like, I love when people actually are upfront with who they are and what they're all about. So he changed himself for someone else's satisfaction, became miserable, and decided to stay in a relationship pretending to be someone he's not, only to get divorced. Yes, that is the moral of the story. Because I was saying the moral of the story is You have to come to terms with you and what you want. You have like you talk about, oh, I tried satisfying and belittling and making myself small so that way I could, you know, be with this guy or whatever the case is, or make him like me. And I'm like, no, I'm not changing myself for people. If you can't love me at my worst or how I am, then we don't need to be in a relationship. And I think it takes a lot for people to come to that determination. You have to, I'm going to give you 110% of who I am. Yeah, maybe in the beginning I'm going to be a little standoffish because that's how we Virgos are. But once I start warming up to you, you got to be able to love all the mess and the warts and all the stuff. That's why I like my friend Adam and his relationship. I didn't like his last ex, but his fiance now that he's with, they complete each other. It's like they like his crazy and all this other stuff, and they get each other. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all get each other, and that's great. But then there's people that is just like, no, you got to be yourself. You have to show up as you. And if you're not willing to if that other person can't accept you for you, then y'all don't need to be in a relationship. I had a guy like Derek K just talking about trying to criticize me, acting like he had to play my teacher. He said, please, he was yet another that didn't get a pass a month with me. I saw the signs early. He said MTV drops Afrobeats category. Oh, so what do you think this is a you said MTV drops Afrobeats, so that wasn't the Grammys. So you think this maybe is due to the whole Grammys thing, that maybe they saw what's going on with the Grammys and the whole Asian category, and they were like, oh, we got to get rid of this Afrobeats. Quiet as it's kept, ain't people really listening to Afrobeats like that because of Tyler? And nobody's really listening to Tyler's new album, so that's probably why they dropped it. And they feel like she's not a representation of Afrobeats. Yeah, she's from Africa. And yes, she had Afro beats in some of her music, but that's not what she's trying to be that crossover artist. The Timu Rihanna. He said, as someone who has changed themselves just to get a piece of DL trade, I regret it so much because it led to my rock bottom. How did he marry? Wait, how did he marry doing all that? The divorce was a rock. Well, because a lot of people think that getting married, once you get married, it changes things. It's like, no, that means you really locked into a relationship. And that's what it only becomes more, you know, highs and lows, ups and downs, all that stuff. Like it takes a lot of work when you're in those type of relationships. And yeah, people put a lot of emphasis when it comes to marriage. It's like, oh no, this is the real deal. It's not like, oh, you're my boo. You're somebody I'm just dating or whatever the case is. Now it's like we're in a marriage. We're locked. We're locked in. So yeah, but I think that could have been it too, is that this desperation for love and affection, similar to like with Hayden Panettiere. She getting caught up in a relationship with her mother would not give her the love that she wanted because their entire relationship was transactional. So Hayden's getting in relationships looking for love, or the little rascal looking putting up in all the wrong places. So she's looking for love in all the wrong places and hooking up with the worst people. And now that she lasts with with that piece of shit that she was dating, who was abusive to her, that she wrote about in the book. Why would you get back with him? So there's that. But yeah, I came across this thing over here since y'all talk about no homosexual news. Well, yeah. So I came across this thing and they said, so this young man ended up losing his job because his past as an adult performer has come back to haunt him. So the question remains is, should companies be able to fire you for doing adult cinematography as your past profession? So I'm going to play you this clip, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk. Please hold.
Is Andrew Bonamolo, and today I was terminated from a theater contract because of my past involvement in sex work, OnlyFans, and studio porn. I believe this to be extremely unjust, unfair, and should be illegal. It is my firm belief that sex work is work, and there should be no world in which that allows jobs to terminate you based on their prejudice. My name is Andrew Bonamolo, and today I was terminated. I ask those in the theater community to stand up for sex workers. Whether it's OnlyFans, modeling, studio porn, stripping, whatever the fuck it might be. There is no world in which someone should be fired for their involvement in sex work. Of course, I'm disappointed about not being able to do the show, but I'm more disappointed that it's 2026 and we're still firing people based on whether or not they've done porn. If the theater community is truly as accepting as it claims to be, I ask those in it to step forward, lift up sex workers, and stop this unjust behavior. Any individual should be able to move through this world without judgment and prejudice and fear of losing their job. Sex work is work, and I ask you to support sex workers.
Yeah, because how else are they gonna get work? I mean, a lot of people don't have the luxury of just going out getting a 9 to 5 and making a decent living from those jobs, especially with people losing their jobs. I'm sure y'all heard the latest on the people that work at Tyson Foods. A lot of them just ended up losing their damn job, and people who've been there for like 30 some odd years, they said their fights broke out, all kinds of craziness. So people are losing their jobs left and right under this crazy ass regime, and times is only getting harder. So I was like, I don't know how to approach this because I'm like, I guess it depends on the company. You're someone, you said a theater company fired you, and it could be, I mean, is it like a family type of theater company? Because they're all about all them fake ass family values people. So I guess it depends on the situation. I don't know. I don't know how to address this. That's why I'm asking y'all, what do y'all think? But when I went over to the gay magazine poll, they said, should your post an adult entertainment should your past in adult entertainment cost you your job? And so 64% said absolutely not. Sex work is real work, where 36% said yes, employers have the right to protect the brand, whatever that brand is. So I'm gonna read some of the comments and see if y'all maybe agree. So Hope Giselle, shout out to her, came and said, okay, so what were Andrew's thoughts around the laws that allow this to happen to trans people for simply existing? In fact, who did he vote for, and do Black Lives Matter? And then she said, but somebody gonna tell me to shut up, child. um And then one person said in the comments, not until affects me vibe. Another person said, hello. Another person said, very that, ma. So, well, that was Hope that said that. And then the only Coco Montrese said, no, they can't be protecting their brand from what they watch themselves on a daily basis. Another person said, what kind of theater? If it was a theater for children, I would understand them firing you. This is such a tough topic, but just because you've done porn doesn't mean you should be stuck doing it for the rest of your life. Either way, they make a law, the employer are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. Not Mo Hart putting an emoji where it was like, well, you should have wore a mask. That's funny though. Um, Another person said, a company pays for your work, yes, but although I don't agree with how it's seen, I do understand that if you do not reflect the company's values or mission statement, they are free to hire and fire. Precious work in an industry that doesn't reflect the company is a conflict of interest, liability for them. So I'm sorry that happened to you, but consider working in spaces that accept you for who you are, who you've been, and where you'd like to go. I know it doesn't feel like a good thing right now, but I'm going to say it. Congratulations, it didn't work out. Now you can find a space that is way more you, sending love your way. So it just seems like a lot of people are saying that if it doesn't align with the values of the company, I guess they can fire you for engaging in sex work. But Linnea says, a theater company, wait, hold on, because I gotta make this bigger. That's what she said. Um, a theater company doing it is what galls me the most. An airline company, either Delta or American, fired an adult actor years ago. He went by the name Pete Ross. He sued and they settled. Child, you know how many homosexuals they got working as flight attendants? Why would you fire him of all people in that type of environment? If anything, that'll get more people to book flights with Delta or American, whichever one that it was. So yeah, I hate when people do that, where they want to hate on you for a profession that you did. You don't know the reason why people decide to jump in and do sex work. A lot of it has to do with, some people just want to do it, or some people do it for survival purposes. Where it's just like, you know what, times was hard. I need a little extra cash, so I laid it low and spread it wide for a couple $100 or maybe $1,000, depending on how many scenes you was doing and how well they was paying you. I don't know what year you started doing it, but people have their reasons for why they do what they do, and I just wish that people would stop thumbing their nose at adult performers in that type of world. Because if anything, how many times have we talked on this show the statistics around how many people, how especially in certain states, the amount of sex videos that people be watching and the type of sex stuff. So I do wonder that too. Like, how do you feel about trans women who, use sex work as a way for survival, and how they get dogged out? Because it's even hard for them to get a job. Hold on. Okay, you said, but the question is how old they find. I mean, that's another thing too. How they find out about what he did, because you know how 9 times out of 10 how it start. It's always some hating asshole who finds out what somebody did, and they can't wait to tell your business and expose you. It always be the rhymes with maggots. Or I realized I skipped something. He said, I'm told to have empathy to people who voted for the regime, but I don't. Who said you gotta have empathy? Because this is we've never seen them do what they've been doing under this regime. So the people that voted for this, no. Why do I gotta have empathy for y'all? Especially when you were told what a disaster it would be, an astronomical disaster would be if you voted for Trump. Question for the class: if a retired sex worker applied to be a teacher or babysitter for your child, nephew, niece, would you discriminate them for their past? No. I mean, it's really hard when you say a sex worker as a teacher, because, well, then again, these kids wouldn't know. Like, if they was doing porn like 20 years ago in the 2000s and you teaching kids today, do you think them kids might know who that adult performer is? Well, y'all shouldn't be, because you shouldn't be watching it. Because I really don't understand how parents don't put a thing on their kids' phones where you know what they downloading, what they watching. There, you got to put safeguards and stuff on the phones. Parents just be buying their kids' phones and letting them just be willy-nilly with it. It truly does depend on the company and work environment. If you're not the face of the company, I don't see the problem in hiring a sex worker as one of the many employees. That's something like, if you got somebody to work in Shake Shack and they're in the back of the kitchen making it, doing the fries or whatever, why would you fire them because they did sex work? How many homosexual men like him do sex work because they know the cash stock in that twink body type? I mean, you likely found out because you were watching. Absolutely. That's why I said, who snitched? That's been the question. The national debt was just announced to be 40 trillion. Oh yeah, we not getting out of this debt. Like, I'm gonna probably be dead by the time we get out of this debt. So yeah, y'all thank Trump, because one thing he knows how to do is make a bill go insanely high. The thing is, when it comes to why is this thing? I don't understand why I'm looking at this thing and it's so damn small. My thing is, when it comes to the rainbow folks, not the rainbow folks, especially trans folks, it's challenging to find mainstream jobs due to discrimination, so they had no choice. Absolutely. It's definitely not easy to get work out here in these streets due to discrimination. And they're already starting that bullshit with the DEI and all that mess. And the thing is, almost everyone watches. Yes, they do. You say almost everyone. I remember one time I accidentally found some porn from my parents. They had taped over a movie. And I was sitting there. I used to hide that little video VHS tape under there. Well, I used to watch that video, and then back in the day, I used to watch Shusha. Remember her? You said because the country has a purist psychosis. And you said, or afraid to be risked. of getting exposed or watching or subscribing to a creator's content. It is. And most certainly is. I mean, we talked about it when we do the annual Corn Hub statistics. And if you watch the T.S. Madison interview that she did with Laverne Cox for Outlaws, she brings it up there. Speaking of which, Craig got on my goddamn root canal nerve when he was trying to go extra. Like, he was doing too much on trying to chastise Laverne. Because, well, she should have said it like this. I'm like, I'm sorry that she didn't say it the way you wanted her to say it, but it's not your life and it's not your brain, it's not your mouth. People don't have to say things the way you want them to say it. But what I do believe is that maybe she should have just phrased it as, I don't think people went in on Laverne harder because she's positioned herself to be an advocate for Black people, for Black trans people, and and just she stands on her transness and her Blackness. So when you're taking that political stance, people will be extra hard on you, especially if you out here dating some blonde-haired, blue-eyed Republican MAGA type. So I totally understood that. And it's like, when you could have, and I'm thinking so many ways she did say it without actually bluntly saying it, but I got where she was coming from, which was like, you know what? He made me feel a certain way. I was lonely. Men like him don't come easy, especially if you're a Black trans woman or Black trans woman. Like, we've heard and seen so many stories where trans women talking about how they don't get the love that they feel from the men that they want. That men always treat them like they're fetish or whatever the case is. But a man actually showed up, however he decided to show up and gave her that love or whatever. It's like, yeah, I overlooked his shortcomings because he dicked me down 5 times a day and he provided me in other ways. So yeah, I kind of put the stuff on his side. But I don't know how long I could have dealt with that. But she had to go through that on her own to come out the other side and learn that lesson. But everybody always try to act like they know how they react when it's not them. But you said they'll fire sex workers, but will hire or make predators the face of their companies. I know, and it's like y'all are just ass backwards with that. But anyway, y'all, all right, so we are officially at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Chris Avalon Unfiltered. That is the name of the show, right? Yes, it is. I'm trying to see if I can come on tomorrow. There's a lot of things I got to do. I may just throw something together. If not, you'll have to see me over the weekend. But yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, smash the notification bell, do all the things to help this show get out there in that good old algorithm. I want to thank you all for watching today's show. All that good stuff. You said want a bus for Yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.